But Taman, what's going on with him?
He's down under, man. He disappeared.
Well, where'd he go?
He didn't disappear, but he moved down to Australia.
Oh, is he?
He's been down there for like 5 years now.
Oh, well.
Yeah, he says hello, by the way.
Oh, well.
I was actually talking to him this morning.
Same to you, mate. Happy day. So we are started. So
it's all good.
So, talk to me about one of my favourite labels of all time, Breakbeat Science.
Whoa!
Yeah, we're going there.
Wow, you went back.
I'm going back. We have to.
Polar.
That's how we met. Polar
and
Beans.
Yes. Oh my God.
Am
Peter K.
Metal Peter K. Peter K. What happened to him?
Don't ask me, man. I don't know.
I heard he worked for Disney. It was like...
I honestly don't know.
You know? Yeah.
No.
He's so elusive.
No, back then I was too like...
Yeah. I'm not worthy.
Yeah.
So, and then obviously Brett Clever, who I actually mentioned in the last podcast, actually, because I was talking about like some of the best sets at Technicality.
Oh.
And Brett came over.
I wasn't here for that.
Nah, so that was this. Oh, it should have been. So Technicality was 99, so it'd probably been like 2000. He came over 2001, maybe. So it's all like 20-something years ago, 21 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
And he probably played one of the best sets in Technicality history.
In what sense? What?
Because we were sort of getting known as like this, you know,
Drum funk,
choppage, experimental thing, right?
Yeah.
But then he came down. He said, "Well, I'm not, I don't play all that stuff. I play it, I'm experimental to a point, but he's not, he wasn't playing like loads of like crazy
obvious tunes.
Yeah, obvious tunes.
Yeah.
So
he's a good DJ too.
He was an amazing DJ.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. He come and he just like it was the first time I heard song. Is it Song of the Cellar? The Clute thing. Dun-dun.
Oh yeah.
You know that one?
Yeah.
Dun-dun, dun-dun. I love that tune.
Yeah.
And I remember like people sort of really
phone call something.
Which one was that?
The Clute one.
The Clute one. Yeah, I think it's a phone call.
Phone something.
Yeah. I always forget the names. You know what? I need to have another.
But he used to play that all the time.
Yeah.
That's why I know what he's talking about. No, it's a sick tune though.
It's such a great.
I hope he plays it tomorrow.
Is he playing?
Yeah.
Brett's over.
No, not Brett. Clute.
Oh, Clute. Oh yeah. I was going to say. I was thinking I didn't see Brett on the lineup for Rapture.
Brett stopped a while ago, man.
Yeah, no, he's turned into a
cyclist.
A tadpole, didn't he? He's like he looks like a tadpole.
He was always skinny, but now he's skinny and built as.
Yeah.
I curse? I don't know if I can curse yet.
Yeah, you can curse. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, he's built as fuck.
Yeah, he is.
He was like, you know what? It's funny.
With the donuts and all that. Yeah.
Oh shit, yeah. Because you know what? It's funny. Brett Clever, weirdly, was one of the first white men to talk to me about experiencing racism from black people.
Wow. He was all about that.
Right. It was really interesting.
But I mean, okay, we're talking about New York, right?
Yeah.
New York.
I think his ex-girlfriend, I think he's obviously with someone new, but his ex-girlfriend was like, she was a black...
Yeah,
she was
Lindsay.
Yeah, she was like from Georgia.
Lindsay.
I think she was like black aristocrat
Awesome.
almost.
Yeah, she was a cool kid, yeah.
But I think she was like, I might have this wrong, sorry Brett if I got this wrong, but I think she was like from quite affluent black southern family.
Man, I liked her, I hung out with her,
Yeah.
but I don't think I've ever had deep conversations with her.
Right.
I mean, we're talking years ago.
Yeah.
I wonder how she's doing.
I hope she's doing well.
I hope so too.
Hey to you if you ever see this. But
I remember Brett when he asked me for my wife now for her phone number.
Oh shit.
He's like, hey, I know you're dating this girl, but I don't know, would you mind giving me her number? And I just looked at him like, well, I mean, to be honest, at that time I had just broken up with another relation. So I wasn't really serious with my wife. But I was like, yeah, I'll pass you her number. I mean, you're man enough to ask me face to face. So. And then I thought, if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, I'm there.
And it didn't. And now you're married.
I think they went on a date. Yeah, 2 kids. Yeah.
Yeah. But they went on a date, and then.
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't remember what happened.
Yeah,
but obviously you did.
You didn't ask. But
I don't know if Brett remembers that.
We don't talk about it anymore. Do you know what I mean? You and the missus are not, he's like, we don't mention him. It's fine.
So yeah, he was he, Brett is always had like he was aware of style. And he was very much into art, and he was very aware of his surroundings. He was a very intelligent guy, and
Always.
or is.
Yeah, always.
But so I could see how he could have had that conversation with you. Yeah.
But he was just saying her family just
Oh, yeah.
did not check for him at all, apparently.
Oh, okay.
I mean, maybe they changed, but I remember at the time he told me that there was a problem. It was just weird. I was like, really? What? Black people do that? I was like, at the time, it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
It was the first time. It's funny the things I remember. But like, the label was seminal. I mean, when you see, I mean, you got Exit Records now. Mm-hmm. They were the Exit Records for me.
Yeah.
Of the time. In terms of sort of like clean
electronic
sort of like
influence,
bass music around,
experimental, open, transparent.
Yeah.
But man, he had style, man.
Yeah.
He brought it with the whole art, and every time he did a release, he surprised me. Because it was just like, wow, you kind of created your own world with this. It could have gone really far, man. It went far enough.
I feel so.
I think at that time, now in retrospect, I couldn't tell you exactly what happened, but at that time, I remember thinking, your problem is that you live in New York.
Really?
You should be in London.
Yeah.
And I think I might have even told him that.
Yeah.
Not so much in the sense of like being influenced, like how it could have influenced him, but I'm talking about doors.
Yeah.
Because in New York he was very alone. Man.
Yeah.
He, it wasn't easy for him there.
Yeah, I bet. Because but I think, I mean, it's
weird, right? It's weird music. It's not straight up drum and bass.
No, it wasn't straight up drum and bass. I think there's a lot of people over here that didn't really.
At that time, everyone in New York was looking for straight up drum and bass.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, man, what are you on? What is this thing? How are you working? How are you selling?
Yeah.
But I was really happy and proud of the artist that he found from the States.
Yes, that's what I liked, because he was, at the time.
Selene. Yeah.
Shit, man, I had heard that name for years.
Chris.
Yeah, Chris. Chris Minifee, C64.
I can't remember his
Shout
last
out
name.
Chris Minifee, C64, Canada, representing.
Yeah.
What was his surname again? Chris.
Selene.
I can't remember Selene's name, but
I don't remember
what was the tune?
He had a lot of tunes.
Oh, he had a few, but there was the one. Oh God, I should not do this on the podcast. Try and remember people because
that's what's fun, man.
It's annoying because yesterday
there's so much music out there, bro.
But I was trying to remember Billie. Yesterday in the hums, I was trying to remember Billie Eilish's name. I couldn't get her name out for shit.
Ask me, man. My daughter's all up on Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish, yeah, because I was saying how she's been like selling vinyl still. Like she actually, she did an amazing job.
She's got a good team behind her, man.
Yeah.
She comes from.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I mean, the mom and the father, they're both Hollywood types,
Right. Well. Yeah. Well.
A lot of doors.
Lot of doors. Well, this is what we're talking about, isn't it?
Yep.
Those doors opening and opportunities and.
But I actually appreciate her music.
You know what? I don't think I would be able to recognise a single one of her tunes.
Oh, I don't have a choice.
Yeah. You got it, your daughter.
Man, she's crying to me how she doesn't, tour in Spain. She doesn't come around, and we should fly over and check her out. I'm like, we're not doing that.
Flying. Go see fucking Billie Eilish.
Kids just ask because they can,
Yeah, it's like when you got flying to see Billie Eilish money, then you can fly to see Billie Eilish. You know what I mean? It's like I saw a clip from Everybody Hates Chris, the actual TV show. You know what I mean? And
I was gonna ask you why you chose this name.
Well, it's because
has anybody asked you this? Because
no one actually has.
Then we can pass.
Well, no one actually asked me. It's.
I know the show.
Yeah, and obviously, I hope
Chris Rock
will, if he ever finds out about it, he doesn't give me any shit. But because in theory, anybody can hate any Chris. You know what I mean? It's not like, it's not like that's a sort of exclusive to him. But it's like the thing about it was sort of like an amalgam of how I was feeling after the issues with my former employer, because I'm trying very hard not to say their name. But at certain points, I felt like everyone hated me. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
With that.
Yeah.
And then there was another issue I had maybe 4 years prior to that, where I sort of, in a bit of an angry rage, I sort of had a bit of a online rant
you were angry and you ranted?
I'm trying to grow, man.
We all are, bro. I'm just saying to you, like,
namaste.
you know, okay, this is the thing. Like, I love you.
I love you too, man.
And I've known you for a while, and so I knew right away what the name was about. But I'm thinking about the people who don't know you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nah, but you know, Chris is lovable as crazy as he is.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's that's like how I would like to be remembered. I mean, you know, he's crazy, but we liked him. Do you know what I mean? He was a bit of a fucking.
Well, you're opinionated, man.
Yeah, I know.
No, but that's not a bad thing for me, man.
Yeah.
Because I think that's one of the things I loved about jungle scene early on. That everyone had a really strong opinion.
Yes.
And they voiced it.
Yeah.
That's changed a lot.
That has changed a lot, and it's like.
And I've had to figure out how to adapt to that.
Yeah.
How to keep my mouth shut sometimes, and other times how to. No.
Yeah, I've got to
Speak
say
up.
something. Yeah. I think sometimes like the issue I had before I called out because basically I called out dispatch recordings and
I remember.
Yeah, Ant and I, you know, we've talked about it. So Ant, hope you're well, mate. Love to you and the family and the baby and all that. But he was quite upset by what I said because I basically alluded to the fact that. You know, the type of music that he was perpetuating on Dispatch was sort of bringing an element into jungle that we've never seen before.
Yeah.
So I sort of went to, you know, I think I was at a Dispatch night and I just sort of saw like, I mean, a white crowd and it was predominantly white males, all shaved heads. They all just looked like they were about to, you know, and that's a horrible judgment to make of a group of people, I know, and I've learned from that.
But that's what you saw that day.
But that's what I saw, and
yeah.
I was seeing certain things in the scene, you know, and there was also... because there was a way you could, and actually this happened afterwards, because this happened after I started at my former employers. But there was a day when we were all in the office and you could cross-reference fans of a particular label against other groups on Facebook. I think they took away the functionality of doing it now. So you could search for, you know, say like, you know, Rupture fans that followed Britain First, which was like a sort of right-wing group at the time. And, you know, if you did Dispatch and cross-referenced it with Britain First, they had, you know, a couple of hundred people, you know, who obviously followed the racist group, but also were fans of Dispatch.
Yeah.
You know, you click on one of their profiles and, you know, you'll see they'll have a poster of Bob Marley smoking weed, and then the next picture will be like an anti-Islamic, you know, post or, you know, whatever. And so there was always a thing that would make you feel uneasy about seeing some of his fan base. And that's not Ant's fault. That's not Ant's fault. That's not the label's fault. It's not the music's fault. But at the time, it felt like it was. And I probably was, I always, because it was on Daryl Invader's wall where I made the comment, and I always joked that it was because I had 2 steaks that night. I had 2 steaks and I think I was too like rolled up.
That cow meat
just like that blood just got me raised, and I was just like fucking.
Hey, we all have our days, man.
Yeah, and then I went home, and then I remember I had a training course the next day. I went to the training course. My mate Alex Jones, how you doing, man? He rang me up and goes, "Chris, what the fuck's happened?" I'm like, what? I don't know.
It just blew up viral.
Mate, he screenshotted what I said, and then because I put it on Darren Invader's wall as a comment, and I name checked a couple of artists as well, and then he screenshotted it, and then put it on his page, and I think by the time I got home, it was like 2,000 responses. And, you know, there was all this sort of infighting and the thing. I didn't even make a single comment, you know what I mean?
No, once it explodes like that, it loses control.
Yeah, it was. But ultimately, the point I was making is that we need to bring different elements back to music, maybe. Yeah. At the time, the point I was making is we maybe need to bring different elements back in order to try and diversify the crowds, right?
Yeah.
Now, I know that's not necessarily the way you diversify crowds now, but at the time, that's how I felt. And you know, that's what it was. So I said what I said, and it blew out. It was awful. But what was really interesting is that in my DMs, I had a whole bunch of black DJs, well-known DJs, who I'm not going to name obviously because it was private, who essentially agreed with me. You know, and you know, it's not like that doesn't mean that what I said was right, but it was certainly meant that other people, other people were saying the same thing. Now, again, that's not to vilify Ant in any way.
No. I understand what you're saying.
We've had the conversation. You know, he was obviously upset by it. We had the conversation at the time, and I remember seeing him out in Shenzhen. Shout out to the Unchained crew. See, you got Boogaloo wearing the Unchained baseball cap. And when I went to play for the Unchained guys a couple of years back, and we had a chance to talk in person about it, because that was the first time I'd seen him since the incident, weirdly. I might have seen him before that, but that was the first time I had a chance to talk to him since the incident. It was a good few years after, so, you know, he'd forgotten about it, he's moved on, he's manager at Metalheads now, he's doing great things, you know what I mean? He's a great guy. And, but we talked, and he understood, and, you know, I think, then not long after that, you know, you got Kyrist involved with the label, and, you know, you sort of started looking around sort of thing. And obviously since, you know, the other thing that I've gone out and said now is, you know, I think there's been more progression there in terms of diversity of the label on Dispatch. So, you know, I mean, even I've had to look at my label. I mean, I've had to look at Inperspective. You know, I've got a few black artists, but I haven't got any women. I mean, I've got you know, sort of work in my own way. So it's, you know, I've put that mirror on myself. But it was when I came home and just coming into the living room, and then I remember Helen looking up from the laptop. I go, what did you do? Like, you know what I mean? I was like, I didn't do anything. What? I don't get it. And then I started looking through the comments. She was there all day, just looking through all the comments. And I was like, I don't get it. And then there was like infighting, and different people started to, someone threatened, I mean, I won't mention the names, it all got a bit messy, but, you know, someone threatened someone else, because someone come on there and started slagging me off, saying, oh, he just perpetuates pots and pans bullshit.
Chris, it's social media, man.
Yeah. It was fun. I mean,
honestly, face to face, it's a whole different story.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do the podcast in this way. Because
I thought that.
Yeah.
I actually thought that. I was like, this is going to help Chris. Because, not that you need help. I'm just saying, sometimes, I kind of have the same issue going on myself. Yeah. Where I feel like I'm really strongly opinionated about things sometimes. Yeah. And I don't want to shut up about it, but I also don't want to fuck myself over.
This is it, yeah.
And it's not because I'm saying something that I don't believe in, but it's because the way I'm being perceived. You know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe internet's baby steps, man.
It is, and it was a different time. It was still. I mean, I don't know if it was new to social media. It was still. I mean, I don't think Twitter had started yet. You know what I mean? It was quite a while ago, but it's like it was weird how I went from sort of people not knowing who I am to just like a whole bunch of people hating me. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, just I mean, you know, I saw all the comments, I saw people slagging me off. They obviously had checked out the label. They obviously checked out what I was about, and they thought, well, how's this guy got any right to criticise us? No one fucking likes this shit. Do you know what I mean? It's like, well, that's not true. But like, you know, people did like it. It was just a different crowd, a smaller crowd maybe, but it was a different crowd. But you know, I mean, I wouldn't say now 2022 that I stand by what I said so much. Yeah. But I feel as though I did sort of the right thing, but I just did it in the wrong way. I feel I could have probably done it with a bit more nuance. But maybe if I hadn't done it with a bit more nuance,
it's so hard,
it would have
man.
got missed.
Because you're there with the typewriter, and you're like, this is what I feel. Emotionally, this needs to be said. Yeah. And like you said, you got a bunch of messages privately. Yeah. So it wasn't so wrong. Yeah. It's just because it was on social media. Exactly. If you had been talking to him in person, I think you wouldn't have gotten all this hate.
No, of course not. Yeah. And I mean, it's a valuable lesson. And it wasn't a sort of like...
Well, that's what I'm saying. This is good, man.
Yeah. Well, this is it. And I mean, I hope, I sincerely hope one day I could get Ant on the show. Because it'll be great to have a discussion with him. And that was one of the things as well. Originally, the idea for Everybody Hate Chris was to try and get people on that I've had fallout with, like I disagreements.
That's fun, man. That's fun.
I mean, I still
boxing gloves.
Yeah. Well, it's like we'll have a ring. I mean, Dave, who I live with, that Subject 13. He used to be boxer and that. Do you know what I mean? So he could referee. So he'll be fine.
It's already, man.
You know what I mean? Do a bit of MMA, do a bit of ground and pound. Do you know what I mean? Take it down. But like, so you started off with Offshore, or how did the relationship between you and Offshore?
I was DJing in New York.
Right, okay.
And that's how we knew each other.
Yeah.
Obviously, I was shopping at Breakbeat Science where Brett was working at.
Yeah.
Vinyl Days.
Yeah.
And we got along. He saw my musical taste. and I was moving to Spain.
Cool.
So I said to him, you know, let me help you, man, because I think I can do something. I was way over my head. I had no idea what I was doing, but that was, in my opinion, that was a lost opportunity for me. But I did it with all the best intentions possible.
Yeah, of course.
I wanted to help the label. I wanted to help Brett. I really felt like he had something special. And when I moved to Barcelona, where there was barely a scene,
No, man.
they wanted obvious drum and bass.
Yeah.
They didn't want obscure left.
Yeah. They wanted top
And
10.
so I was suddenly like, Brett was sending me music on vinyl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
they were still not digital at the time. So he was sending me vinyl. I was getting these promos, and I didn't have anywhere to play them.
Yeah.
I didn't know anybody here.
Yeah.
Which is why I ended up coming to your party,
Technicality.
yes. And where I got to meet some of you guys.
Yeah.
And I remember that was the first time that I basically started to understand what this scene was about.
Wow.
Because I remember meeting Charlie Fracture.
Legend.
And I just said hi to him. I'm a big fan, you know, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, "Oh, you're from Offshore Recordings?" He started screaming.
Yeah.
Offshore Recordings. He grabbed my hand. He took me around and said hello to everybody.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there red, embarrassed.
Go on, Charlie.
And in my head, I'm thinking, what did I get myself into? I have nothing to give to these people.
Yeah.
I wasn't a promoter yet.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And, or maybe I had done a few events, but I wasn't, I wasn't what I ended up becoming. But, but yeah, I wish I would have done more for Brett and for Offshore Recordings. And then I was very upset when he
Stop the
closed.
label. Yeah, I was upset.
Because it was right before Exit.
Yeah.
And it felt like it was closed down for the wrong reasons.
Right, yeah.
The lack of support.
Yeah.
But what he did was beautiful.
It was amazing. I mean, I was glad I got to go to the store. I mean, I played for him in New York Offshore Party. I remember.
Really?
Yeah, I did. I played. He organised a party.
Oh, that must have been when I was in Spain.
Yeah, I don't think you were in America. Yeah, because I remember I got to say to somebody after I finished my set, because I remember being at Logic. So quick backstory. Maybe about 2 years before that, I was at Logical Progression in Ministry of Sound, and I was in the VIP with Equinox, and then like Bookham had just come off the decks. And then we went to say hi to him. He goes, "Oh, look, lads, I can't talk. I've got a plane to catch." All right. And I remember turning to Marlon and saying, "I really hope I get to say that one day. Like after finishing the set, get to just say, no, I've got to get on the plane because I'm going to go and play somewhere else."
Yeah.
And sure enough, Offshore Party, finished my set, and it was like finished at 4 in the morning. I had my bags, everything with me, and I had to get a flight from New York at like 6 or half 6 in the morning, something like that. Yeah, it was horrible. But finished my set, come out, and then someone come to speak to me. It was not Seabass. Fuck.
Moldy.
Huh?
Moldy.
Was it Moldy? No, it wasn't Moldy. He's like the biracial guy with an afro. He's from where was the Floods? Where were the Floods? In America.
New Orleans.
New Orleans. He's from New Orleans.
Yeah. Okay.
What's his fucking name?
I've never actually sat and talked to him, but I know you talking.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He's gonna be screwing for seasons. I forgot his fucking name.
Yeah.
So,
I think I contacted him once when I went down to New Orleans.
He's always a lovely guy. We always chatted loads. And he comes to talk to me after. I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, bro. I've got a plane to catch." I was like, "Oh, I'm going to say it." You know what I mean? It was like, I want it on my desk on Monday morning. You know what I mean? It's one of those things.
I'm working.
Yeah, you want to be able to say, you could just get to say, "I want it on my desk Monday morning." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I got, I've got a plane to catch. So yeah, that was a good moment. It's really stupid anecdote, but it was just.
How did that go, man? Do you remember?
The set, I remember it was really busy. I remember I probably clanged
Where was it? Do you know where it was?
Oh, it was really close to the shop.
Oh, really?
It was like a club, right? I think it was almost, if I remember correctly, it was opposite the shop.
Oh, so it's like above, right? It was well, you walked in and then like DJ booth was, okay, I think
it was slightly elevated.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It was slightly elevated DJ booth, yeah. If I remember correctly. But I don't really remember the party because I think that was the time when I was still getting used to CDs. I had vinyl with me,
Yeah.
but I had CDs. I went to play some other things, and I think I fucked up the set a little bit and whatever. I don't know.
But you've always been really good DJ, man.
I think what I was saying about it is just I don't think I'm the most technically gifted, but I always loved playing to people. I always loved playing music.
When I've seen you play, it's deep vibe, not musically. I'm talking about like it's you.
Yeah,
that's what I look for.
Yeah, but I think that's what every DJ should be doing.
Yeah, but that's not really what's going on. So I'm pointing it out.
Yeah,
I'm saying, Chris, you still have a voice.
Love it. So
I'm not kissing your ass, man.
No, I know, man.
I want more of you out there, man. Good music. That's why I'm here, man.
Yeah.
Because if I don't come to London or to Sun and Bass Festival, and I grab this energy, this level of skill and vibe from people in Barcelona, it's hard for me.
So talk about that. So you moved to Barca. So what was that?
2004.
4, right? Yeah. And then how long? So it was Jungle Team. It's Jungle Team.
My collective.
Yeah.
We were called Surco first, which means groove in Spanish.
Right. Okay.
But that's funny, man, because we did parties under that name for like I don't know a few years.
Yeah.
And we had this reaction from people. Like, I would go promote at places where supposedly they're not going to like drum and bass.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to go to this nice bar.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to this nice restaurant.
Yeah.
And try and grab a different kind of crowd, not just the same old ravey kid. And I remember getting a lot of places saying to me, "Oh, can I see the poster?"
Yeah.
We do a lot of postering. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if people remember that.
Yeah.
But
I do.
There's still posters here.
Oh yeah, it's not posters here. We don't see people.
Barcelona
outside.
is done, man.
Yeah, you don't see people flying so much now. That's the thing you don't see. But yeah,
But basically it was like, oh, it's drum and bass, because we used to write drum and bass really big in the center, just so that it was clear, like this is a drum and bass party.
Yeah.
And I always got this negative reaction of, oh, drum and bass. Yeah, I used to like that music back in the day, but now it's like really noisy. I don't think my crowd's gonna like this poster, so and I would always have to say, but our party is different. Like I understand what you're describing, but we're trying to do something different, and we kind of need support.
Yeah.
And it was always kind of like, but I don't know, it's drum and bass, right?
Yeah.
And because of that, I remember one summer it came to me, and I thought, you know what, like, let's change the name.
Yeah.
And let's call it something jungle.
Yeah.
And then I remember the tune Jungle Jungle.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is ridiculous. Let's just call it Jungle Jungle. And see what happens. And it was night and day, the reaction.
Yeah.
The next party was rammed. Everyone was interested. Super mixed crowd.
Yeah,
and I was just like, this is what I want forever, And then we did parties called Jungle Team.
Yeah.
And
that's who I played for. The Jungle Team. But when it became that name.
Yeah.
And I did, that was my first experience of having, you had the thing where when I moved there was a person, like an image on the wall behind me where it was doing the same movements. I was tracked.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember?
The V mapping? Is that
the V mapping, yeah. Do you remember you did that?
I don't remember that.
You don't remember doing that shit?
We did so many different things.
I was so impressed because I come into the club and I remember seeing the DJ and I was like, wait, that alien on the screen is doing the same moves as the DJ. I was like, this is amazing.
Oh man, I don't remember.
I was doing all the moves. I was like trying to look up and see doing it, and then they kept the guys who were doing it saying, Chris, if you're gonna dance, but just don't dance too much because the camera. Like,
really?
Because what was happening was I was moving out of where the tracking was.
Okay, yeah.
And then so it would make the thing on screen like
my god,
like, filter. And
that was a good set. I still remember.
I really enjoyed that set.
That was
Did you record it?
No.
Ah, fucking cunt.
No, but that was good.
I remember the night, man.
We only brought you out once.
It was only the one time, and I was literally in Barcelona for like 10 hours.
Oh wow!
Because I think I flew in, played the gig.
That would be your fault, man.
I can't remember what
because
it was.
We always used to say, I was the one who contacted all the artists.
Yeah, but
I used to always say, "Hey, come for the weekend."
Yeah, no, but there must have been a
enjoy
reason.
the sun, whatever. Well, of course.
Yeah, I must have had a reason. I can't think because I fucking love Barcelona. Like I've been. Oh shit! Wait, I've been once before that.
I don't know why I feel like we've had you down twice, man.
No, I've been to Barcelona a few twice. No, I've been there once before, but but then sort of like a couple of years back, I met Marlon Wilson, Assassin.
Yeah.
And he had spent significant time in Barcelona, and Ross RV.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I think, and like, they both remember well, RV remembers me playing that night.
Yeah.
Because I think he was there.
Did he perform?
Did he MC? I don't think he MC'd for me.
Probably. I don't know, man.
I can't remember.
I don't know.
Or maybe he did.
People were coming out to my party.
Yeah.
So it's hard to know if they were performing or not. Yeah, I know.
It was good.
I know. Yeah.
But like you say that, you know, the scene in Barca in Spain, you know, the jungle scene in Spain isn't maybe picking up as much as you'd hoped, or, you know, sort of like...
It's going through a new, a new generation. It's changing over, and the music. I mean, I feel like what we did there, myself, Tom, and Sekif. What we did was really important in the sense of like musically changing the city. Before us, it was strictly one sound. After us, it opened up. So I know that's our legacy. I know that's what we did for the city and for the music.
Yeah.
And so it's nice now because you go out and you have DJs playing all kinds of styles, different, music styles at the same night.
Yeah.
I hope it continues that way. But no one's jumped over to the level of getting a club, which is not easy. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Barcelona is ultimately a techno city, and drum and bass did a really good job at dirtying our image.
Yeah.
Like I said before, there's this kind of like prejudice with us, and so most clubs usually won't even open their door to you, So it's a difficult wall to climb. You want to invite him in?
No, I wouldn't want to say this. I have a flatmate. He's just talking on the phone.
No, it's all good, man. I'm just joking, man.
Oh shit.
That's what.
For the audience that's blessed.
I'll just check it.
You should leave all this in.
Oh, this is all staying in. Don't worry. Yeah, no, it's all stays in. That's my flatmate Rick, who is, by the way, he's a fucking incredible rapper. I hope I'm going to probably chat to him one time on the podcast very soon.
Rapper.
But yeah, he's amazing. He could do it. He could do it to hip hop. He could do it to drum and bass. He's incredible. But so you were saying, so the scene now.
So it's just it's going through a phase of renewal, and yeah.
So are there any nights now that sort of doing a regular thing out there?
There are crews that are doing one-offs.
Yeah.
And there's like a small bar scene, nothing really that could afford bringing people down there to perform.
Yeah.
But I certainly hope it grows.
Yeah.
I try to be there for all of them.
Yeah.
Support them.
Yeah.
As much as I can.
Yeah.
But that's why I need to come here and get my energy, man.
Yeah, to go back out.
Obviously, there's the other extreme here, where there's a lot of business-minded people.
Yes.
But I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for vibe.
Yeah, I always. I mean, jungle is always about that. And I mean, I've always had a bit of a theory about the spread of jungle across Europe, because I feel as though the warmer it gets, the harder jungle is to sell to people. Because I feel like, sort of Northern Europe, if you go to like Holland, there's quite a bit there. Germany is starting to get back into it now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know about Scandinavia so much. I mean, there's even a little bit of a flourishing scene starting to happen in France.
Yeah.
But then you go down a bit, you get to Spain, Italy, it just becomes almost non-existent.
Yeah.
Greece, does have a very strong scene there, though, to be fair.
I didn't know.
And I know there's some people...
I mean, I can't speak for other places.
Yeah.
Even Spain in general, it's hard for me to speak for because they all have their own thing going. But Barcelona-wise, I can say that it's not so much the music style. Obviously, like I said before, it's a major techno city, and so that kind of closes a lot of doors club-wise.
Yeah.
But... jungle has always been a rave thing there.
Yeah.
The free party movement has always included drum and bass.
Yeah.
The problem there is, like I said, clubs.
Yeah.
That's where it's really difficult. I mean, the kind of work that I had to put in, convincing clubs to let me in, and then once I was in, to let me stay in.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous, and I have to say, every single one of the clubs ended up loving us.
Yeah.
Because they saw that we were not different in a bad way, different in a good way.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know that the majority of kids out there doing parties don't have that experience, don't have that need, don't have that, what do you call it? I was gonna say something nasty. The balls.
the
The balls.
Hey, the cojones.
The cojones. But what I mean by that is you have to confront these, like, the majority of the clubs are owned by old guys.
Yeah.
Guys who've been around since the 60s.
Yeah.
And they make money just having a CD playing.
Yeah.
They don't make money with promoters coming in and asking for a cut.
Yeah.
So it's hard for them to understand why you would want to go there and play this music that no one cares about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of barriers.
Yeah.
And that's the club's world.
Yes.
That's why drum and bass jungle is difficult to open up down there. But as far as raves and stuff, it was always part of that music.
Yeah, it's just it's strange how different. I mean, even here it was always a challenge sometimes to get clubs to sort of like open up to the idea of putting on jungle at their events, and I think there was a couple of incidents in the old days, where people got shot and stabbed, different things, and there was I don't want to say if it's Jungle Fever, I can't remember, but there was like a bouncer got shot at Jungle Fever, and I think that sort of killed jungle a little bit in this country a little bit, and and this was a long time ago, guys, so don't worry. I'm pretty sure it was Jungle Fever, but it sort of got this reputation here, like for a while, and then clubs didn't want to touch it, and so I started, when I was doing events, I remember I started saying, we do atmospheric electronica, that's what I used to call it, because I didn't want the clubs
I call it UK jazz electronica.
There you go.
But what is that really?
It's something that promoters
is that saying, like techno? And I'm like, a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. It's like that. You know what I mean? And so you have to sort of think of smart ways to sort of trick. Clubs into
you got to trick them. You got to trick them.
You do it right, and then you hope that you get a decent enough turnout, and then they won't care. Yeah. I mean, that has happened to me a number of times. Rhythm Factory, I remember a few places. They were sort of like a bit unsure, and even up to recently, we did the Community D&B project, and we did it at a club here called Golden Bee, and I don't mind. I'm going to call them out because it was really clear to us when we started that they were just all about house.
Bad vibes.
Well, they just wanted. You could just tell they just wanted that thing where.
Yeah. When is this going to finish?
No.
Oh, okay.
They were sort of like, it would start up, but it's like, well, why isn't the club packed now? Like, do you know what I mean? It was sort of like that sort of thing, and it was sort of like, well, people come, a little bit later or whatever, to sort of explain things.
Yeah.
And, we didn't quite get some of the turnouts, but what's annoying is that if we'd maybe stayed there, maybe even 2 or 3 more events, it'd have been fine.
Of course.
But they never have the patience to let you develop and let you grow.
Barcelona, there's so many places that I convinced. Yeah, because I learned to go out to check out clubs around on Saturday night, Friday night, 3:00 at night. Because clubs in Barcelona finish. They close at 5 or 6. Yeah. So if you go in the middle of the night. And you see a vibe, then you got no business there. Yeah. But there were a lot of places that I would go to that had house music or techno or whatever. 3:00 in the morning and no one would be there. Yeah. And I would say, look, you got 10 people here. I'm sure I can get 50. Exactly. So that's how I ended up figuring it out. But
I forgot about that with Spain and clubbing. I remember it was me and Jake's mum. We were in Madrid. And then someone told us there was a club there that plays like, all the house and techno and like some R&B and different things. And then I remember we got there about 11 and I was like, fucking... This is shit, it's no one here. Do you know what I mean? Like, because we're thinking from a British perspective. Yeah. So he sort of thought, fuck it, just started drinking. Yeah. Drinking too much, got mash up.
Yeah. Next thing you know, the party starts.
and then as we're sort of like getting rid of it, we're a bit pissed now, let's go home. Like, that's when everyone turns up. So we sort of stayed like another hour or so, but by then we were just too much.
Whenever we brought DJs down there, what time am I playing? Oh, you're probably playing at 4.
Yeah, it's like, what?
Or 5.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Why? Yeah. Is there going to be people there? That's when they're there.
That's when they're there. Yeah. The Spanish things are still like 5 hours. Yeah. Like, it's about 5-6 hours. The rest of the Europe. Yeah. And it was very interesting because everyone goes out to eat late, don't they? Yeah. And it's like it's a different culture and it's so cool. It's so relaxed. Yeah. And
you mentioned it to me the other day. You were like, I sound like I'm nervous or anxious, but it's just a London thing. And I was just like. Oh,
because my voice, because you thought I was upset, or like, I was like,
I was half asleep. I was like, wow, you sound stressed out.
I just speak fast. I know.
No, it's all good.
Well,
man.
it's a problem I have. I mean, as I was explaining this morning, I was having a few issues in my personal life, and it's because of how I, come across. I've had this in my life a lot. I don't mean to, but I have a way of expressing myself, and then people that don't know me that well just assume I'm on sort of like, I was going to say DEFCON 5, but I was going to say DEFCON 5, but maybe that's, maybe that's not the
Careful.
Yeah. Did you see the Chappelle?
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, because I just love the way he came out, took the piece of paper out at the beginning and goes, right, says that statement, he goes, and that, Kanye, is how you buy yourself some time. It's like,
Jesus, man. Look, I come from the States, and
yeah, go on.
I have a lot of family there, and it's hard, man. It's a different world.
So in what way? What do you mean?
The whole, like, what's happening right now.
Yeah.
Politically, the whole politically correct movement.
Yeah.
The PC movement.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be fighting for a party.
Yeah.
And I don't know, people. I don't know, man. I go there to visit with my family, my wife and my kids. And every time it's more difficult, I have to say.
It just seems like there's just so much, like, anger. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so there's a lot of, like, we see how
United States is huge.
Yeah.
Fucking huge.
Yeah, it's a massive
and if you live somewhere where you're stacked on top of each other, there's a lot more comprehension, a lot more openness, a lot more understanding.
Yeah.
But the country's vast, and everyone's living far from each other.
Yeah.
There's no real communication. Communication is like, what is Fox telling me?
Yeah.
That's not communication.
No.
No. I don't know how it is in the UK, but I come to London.
It's not dissimilar.
Yeah,
so
it's not dissimilar. It's in Barcelona. We're all stacked.
Oh, we don't have like the news networks like that. You know what I mean?
Right,
no,
that's a different.
So so you sort of got like, you got BBC News, you got ITV News.
Yeah.
They all essentially report in a similar fashion.
Yeah.
And it's not like you get massive variances and say like, like so if you do 9 o'clock news on BBC, 10 o'clock news on ITV, whatever.
Yeah.
That's just a prime example. When you've got Sky News, you've got others obviously. But it doesn't feel like there's that like heavy political thing. But like, then I say that, but
I don't call it political.
Well,
because my experience being there, just there, I don't live there anymore.
Yeah.
I've been there. I've been in Spain for fucking 20 years or something.
But
what I do notice is it's kind of like a sport.
Yes.
It's entertainment.
Yeah.
They call it political leaning or whatever, but they're the least political people that I've met.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about family and friends.
Yeah.
Whenever I've sat down on a table and tried to bring up what's going on politically in the country, they're very ignorant. Like, I know more than they do, and I don't live there.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's like it's stressful for them. They live day to day. They work really hard. It's a very hard working community, society. But their entertainment is this sport now. It's this thing of like, what party are you part of, and or who are you fighting for? And then social media makes things a lot worse. It's this combination of all these things happening. Now there's this whole thing with Trump and everything, and I'm just like, well, I can't do anything about it.
He's running again, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's going to win, isn't he?
I think so.
Yeah, he's going to win.
Because it's set up that way.
It just feels like that's what's going to happen. Would he be the first president to be
away and back?
To way back. He must be.
I don't think so. I think he might be. He's
going to make history, isn't he? I'm sorry to say it like that.
He was making history since day one.
It was like what Chappelle even said in his SNL. He goes, he's an honest liar. I thought that was a beautiful phrase, he's an honest liar.
Hey, that's what they want, right? Entertainment.
It did, but it was the way he did it. Because what I think Chappelle was pointing out was that Clinton was calling him out for certain things. And he's like, well, yeah, of course I do that shit because you and all your mates do that shit.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like, hold on a minute, he just said it, but no one picked up on it. And he's just blatantly saying, yeah, I do that. It's because I'm smart. And, that's, And it's like, okay. But the line that still kills me, because whatever you think about Trump as a person or an individual, I'm sorry, some of the things he said was fucking hilarious. Because
well, if he's not funny, he's nothing else.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, and I just think, and I get why a lot of stand-ups. I love comedies, you know. I love American comedy. I worship at the feet of most of the top American comics. I find it really hard to watch British comedy now, to the point, because I really love American comedy so much.
Well, there's a lot of reasons for comedy to be healthy in the States. Right?
Well, they really need it. I think the Americans need comedy more than probably any other place in the world, and that's probably why there's so many great comics come out of the States.
It's.
But he goes when I can't remember the name of the woman who was doing the interview, and it was the debate, wasn't it? Yeah. And he said, "Oh, you've been very disparaging about women, and you talk shit about women all the time and that sort of thing." He goes, "No, not women, just Rosie O'Donnell."
He's had a thing with that woman,
right?
Decades.
Yeah, they've always kind of gone at each other, haven't they?
Yeah.
And it's just like. It's like the balls of him. You know what I mean? It's just the balls of him to come out with these things.
Yeah.
And
but it's entertainment, right? And that's what they're voting for. They're voting for entertainment.
Yeah.
They were like, well, I guess it's too much, so let's go with this guy who's going to die soon.
Yeah.
And, well, this is boring. So, wait, no, it's not that boring. He almost fell. That's fun. So, how can we get entertained again? Because he's definitely not going to last on 4 years. Well, let's go back to the last best thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm being insulting, but it hurts me because obviously my family and friends are there, and it's hard for me to see this decline of that society, But I don't know, what can you do, man? I can only be the best brother, the best friend, I try to talk about it, but I don't know. My brother used to always say, shout out to my brother. He used to always think that I hated America because I left the United States.
Yeah.
And it was for a lot of reasons, but political reasons were a big thing for me.
Yeah.
I was there during 9/11, so I saw what that whole post-war thing was, and the big lie, and I got into Chomsky, and started understanding a little bit more about how the United States treats their citizens, and the lack of everything. And the need of everything, and I was just, my wife and I were just like, we're done with this. We're leaving. I have Spanish nationality. Let's go back to Spain.
Cool.
So my brother always thought that I hated Spain, the States.
Yeah.
And I was just like, no, the reason I'm leaving is because I love America.
Yeah.
And I can't participate anymore.
Yeah.
I have that luck to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Most of my family and friends don't.
Yeah.
So when I go back to visit.
Yeah.
I go into a taxi and I drive by hardworking people, and I can almost place them. I can see what your day to day is, and I didn't want that life for myself. So I ended up moving, and Barcelona, it's not perfect. It has its things too.
So what like politically?
Yeah.
So help me out here.
Catalonia has been fighting for.
Oh, is that the Basques?
No.
Sorry.
No, don't need to be sorry.
Yeah.
Basque is another region.
That's another region.
Catalonia is next to that.
Yeah.
And it's now I'm feeling that pressure, that political pressure, right, from your local people of like, should you talk about this or not?
So explain. So
basically, it's one of the highest grossing areas of the country. So it's a socialist country, and so the money gets moved around the way they choose to.
Yeah.
And Catalonia has always had kind of like the short end of the stick.
Right.
And so there's that, and then there's the extremist Catalans who always fought for, to preserve their culture and their language, and there's always been this attack against.
So they don't. Do they? I mean,
we speak Catalan.
Catalan.
Yeah.
So and that's different to Spanish.
Catalan is the language of Catalonia, which is a region that existed pre-Spain.
Right. Okay.
It was like the southern part of France and the northern part of Spain.
Right.
Used to be its own place.
Right.
It actually predates the Spanish language.
Right. So they feel.
But obviously they were won over.
Yeah.
France became France. Spain became Spain, and people have been fighting to kind of hold down to the culture, maintain that.
And it's the same for the Basque separatists as well. So they have their own language as well.
Yes, Basque.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because
Yeah.
I remember back in the day, like there were like those bombings.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Was it ETA?
Yeah.
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 And
same thing, except for they approached it from a violent point of view.
yeah. It's a
with
bit more like the
extremist
IRA
groups.
kind of sort of deal. Yeah, they were like,
And in Catalonia, we never went down that road. But yeah, so it's kind of a delicate subject to talk about.
Yeah.
Because it's still very present. Dictator in Spain was just 3 decades ago.
Right.
And the survivors are still alive, and it's very, it's a hot topic.
It's raw. Yeah.
It's raw. So there needs to be some new generations to kind of balance things out a little bit, I think.
Yeah, because it's like...
It takes time.
Like, you would have thought by now, it's like, all right, well... Yeah, we've got different dialect. I mean, it's like you've got people that speak Welsh, or you've got people that speak Cornish here, but it's still all sort of one country, isn't it? And that's what you kind of want. But I can understand why those individuals, like have their grievance because they feel their culture's being destroyed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I mean, I
mean, the Spanish government basically was like illegalizing the language from schools, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So it's kind of like why that question is not
Yeah.
allowed to be asked.
Yeah.
So that's where there's that like centralist mentality.
Yeah.
Spanish nationalists.
Yeah.
It's a delicate subject.
It's so weird though, because I mean, I knew someone who was from Hungary, but she was what was described as a Seike, and they're like a sort of, again, a bit like the Catalan or the Basque. They're sort of like a sort of separate group from the rest of. And they're like, she's telling me that like they wouldn't be allowed to get certain things from the government, and just because they were just in this bit of the way. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, it's people. Why can't we just?
Politics,
do you know what I mean?
man,
I know, it's just nonsense. It's just like it's fictional lines. It's like
man.
It just doesn't make any sense to me sometimes. But
how long have you been doing this music, man?
Jesus. Well, technically, Inperspective is currently in its 25th year. But I mean, I've been involved in jungle since I was 13, 14. I mean, so we're talking 35 years that I've been sort of attached to jungle.
Yeah.
So it's like the majority, like the vast majority of my life, I've considered myself a diehard junglist, and will probably die a diehard junglist. Do you know what I mean? I can't. One of the things that irritates me more than anything when people go, "Oh, I used to listen to drum and bass, but I grew out of it." So I go, "Oh, fuck you." Do you know what I mean? What do you mean you grew out of it? No, fuck you. We didn't want you. Do you know what I mean? It's like you just like you ain't got.
I grew out of rock music.
No one ever says that. No one ever says I grew out of rock. No one says that. It's like, why do we always get the fucking? But then at the same time, it's like I was saying before. I think there's not many genres where people identify themselves by their genre. People will say, I'm a junglist.
Yeah.
People say I like techno house, whatever, but it's like I was saying, they'll define themselves, I'm a junglist, you just say that. And I love that. And I think there's something about the jungle community, as much as we have our problems and as much as we have our issues and everything else, but there's something about the jungle community that I think is so much more galvanizing. Than, like, say, if you're a techno fan, because techno is so international, so worldwide, so spread.
Yeah.
There's no sense of scene, and that's why when issues of political issues come up in techno, for example, there's so much more resistance.
Yeah.
Because it's in
it's a lot more industry too.
It's loads more industry, but like just the I mean, look, whatever you might think about the war, in Russia and Ukraine, for example, the fact that, I personally think what happened to Nina Kravitz was, for example, I thought that was just unfair. I get there's going to be people that are going to be like, no, fuck that bitch, she was like pro-Putin. But it's like, well, what the fuck would you expect her to be? She's from Russia. You know what I mean? I get it. I'm not trying to defend anything she said.
Oh, no. I
But at the same time, for her to lose work because she didn't say anything.
It's a different perspective, man. I think age brings you different perspectives.
Yeah, it's just weird.
Because I think we've experienced many different ups and downs in society.
Yeah.
And I think we have that vision of, I don't want to say unity, but openness to communication.
Yeah.
To conversation.
Yeah.
And there's so much to learn from people who have a different perspective. And I myself, for example, there's people in my family that are like Trumpers,
Yeah.
How easy would it be for me to be like, well, I can't talk to you?
Yeah.
it's pointless.
Pointless.
It's pointless to have that attitude because if they close you off, then that's on them, you know.
Yeah.
But there's always an opportunity to learn something from it. And I, personally, with her, it was very hard for me to understand why she was shut off. Personally, I don't. I think it's there are people like Putin. You know what power he has over his society, so how could you possibly question any Russian who lives over there, even the ones who completely agree with him?
Yeah, because I mean
that's their culture, is what they've grown up with, and I mean I remember. I mean we're going back into politics, but I remember with the when we invaded Iraq. And it was all the judgments on the women covering their faces and not going to school and I just kept telling myself, Sergio, you've never been there, you've never talked to any of these people, you don't know them. See, because when I was young, and I was living in Spain as a child, because of my features. All the kids called me the Chinese kid, the Chinese, and Chino. And I remember it used to bother me, not because I had some kind of idea of what Chinese was, but I remember thinking, like, why am I being called that when I'm not that? That's all it was. And then I remember when I moved to the States, because of my Spanish accent, all the kids hated me there. I mean, I got beat up. I got into fights all the time because they would hear me speak and they would hear my accent. And there's this concept that all Spaniards are the ones who raped continually rape and pillage on all Latin countries. Very ignorant, childish point of view, but I had to pay for that. And so I always had this kind of like outsider vibe. Now I'm back in Spain, but my accent is lost. And now I sound American. And they're like, "Where are you from? You're not from here." You know, so I'm one of those people that have never belonged. So that taught me a lot of lessons as far as like, well, there's a person behind this prejudgment, you know, and I don't know. I think one of the reasons I fell in love with jungle music is because of that. Is because it was like. I used to go to house and techno parties in New York, and I didn't go to hip hop parties because back then it was a little dangerous. But I did go to house and techno parties, where because I was the Latino walking in, I would get the extra frisk. You know, and at the bar, I'm gonna help this person out first, you know, and that kind of stuff. And that was New York in the '90s. You know, but I remember when I started going out to jungle events. The first thing I noticed was you didn't have to wear high heels, or you know. Oh,
you wear high heels?
I wore high heels all the time, but it was open to all kinds of people. Now, earlier on, I fell in love with house and techno. The early rave scene in New York. With Limelight, that's my temple. That place made me who I am.
Is that a club or?
It was a very famous church club in New York. They've made movies about it and everything. And that place to this day inspires me. And the reason I fell in love with that place is because it was this like huge mix of people, everyone doing crazy things. And then I went through a few years with house and techno where it was like the Latin kid, you know, and go in the bathroom, you see another Latin kid and you kind of go, hey.
I see you got a version of the nod.
Of course.
That's so great to hear. So okay.
And then the Latinas would see me and they're like, "No, away."
See,
you know what I'm saying?
You get that.
You know, it's like, hey, this is a class thing. Come on.
You
know your place.
But
I mean, obviously, you're a child. You don't really understand that until later on. But when I started going to jungle parties, again, I found that the mixed crowd.
It's always brought that, but it's interesting the way that jungle developed in America. I mean, you know, I wish I could remember his bloody name, but off the top of my head. But there was a guy who I met a few years ago. He's running one of the longest running Wheatleys in the States.
There's a few.
Yeah, there's a couple. I think he's
from where?
I want to say Philadelphia.
Philly, Platinum.
He's dread, brother. He's got dread. I can't remember. I'm gonna have to. It's gonna be gutted if you see this, and I've forgotten his name. But we didn't talk that much. But he told me a story about how, you know, when he first started getting into jungle, because I think he came to England a long time ago and discovered it, and then went back to America and wanted to perpetuate. So it's like buying records and getting them imported and all that sort of stuff. And then he was trying to go to the early jungle parties.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as a black guy, he wasn't being let into the clubs because they were like, "Well, why?"
In Philly,
I want to say Philly. I'm not sure
okay.
where. I better not stick on Philly because I'm not sure where.
Okay.
But he said that it was this weird thing where the black community in America didn't relate to jungle drum and bass because they saw it as like white music.
Yeah.
And then he was then going to the drum and bass parties, and they were like, "Well, why are you coming here? You're not welcome here because it's not for you."
That's definitely not New York.
No, it wasn't New York. It wasn't
New York was definitely open.
It wasn't New York. No, it wasn't New York. It definitely wasn't New York. Yeah. I really wish I could remember where.
But
it was.
I can totally imagine.
Yeah, it was just like this weird thing.
Yeah.
But I think one of the reasons why Americans seem to think, well, certainly, one of the things that I think happened there is like you had. Mickey Finn, Aphrodite, they were some of the first guys to kind of come out to America.
They were pretty big there, yeah. They still are, I think.
They still are pretty big over there, especially Aphrodite and Mickey Finn, pretty massive.
Yeah.
And, I know people, that absolutely their favourite DJ of all time is Aphrodite, from America.
Oh, yeah.
He's a legend.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's sort of almost like, David Hasselhoff in a way, you know what I mean? Everyone's sort of like sees him one way in one country, but in Germany, David Hasselhoff's a legend.
Yeah.
So it's like that. So, it was always interesting to me because maybe, Aphrodite, played certain styles that maybe weren't always the most popular here, but it was certainly going down well in America.
Yeah.
And I always found that fascinating. But what that led to was this idea, certainly for the black community in America, that this was not for them, right?
Yeah.
And which I found strange because actually, when you break down the music, everything about it comes from Black America.
Yeah.
All the breaks, all Black.
I can
bands
tell you, growing up in the Northeast, one of the biggest criticisms that I got, typically, was from Latin kids or black kids.
Right.
They would call my music white music.
Yeah.
They basically. It's weird, man, because New York is different, man, because it's kind of like this. It's a melting pot.
100%.
So there's this thing where house music for us was gospel.
Yeah.
It's soulful. It's not and I don't mean soulful in the sense of soft. I meant gospel. I mean like deep.
Yeah.
Rooted in your blood, kind of. And I'm talking about early '90s. I don't know what's going on there musically now. But it was very Latin. It was very black. It was very Asian. It was white for sure. But it was this melting pot. But somehow I don't know where there was this hiccup. Techno became very white. And not on purpose. I think it just happened, and it might be because hip hop. We're talking about Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul. Like hip hop just blew the fuck up. So I think that kind of attracted a lot of people towards that. The clubs were starting to clean up. They were allowing to do more hip hop in venues like Palladium and. Roxy was starting to get really huge, so I think that's kind of the reason why techno became more white in New York. But I
think it did that everywhere, to be honest.
Yeah, maybe. But I think that's why a lot of people started hearing my music. It's fast, it's techno, so it's white.
Yeah.
And it was always confusing to me because obviously that's not my experience.
No.
But yeah, back then you didn't have social media, right? You didn't have internet.
No.
I mean, if you didn't go to a record store, if you didn't go to a party, how are you going to know what the fuck the music is?
But what's going on,
Yeah, I mean, all I could ever play was tapes that I had or,
cassettes. Cassettes. Little things that people used to have music on. Yeah, for anyone under the age of 30. it's like the idea of a cassette to some people is insane. But it's like, it's
so I understand what you're saying. It was very hard to say not only is this for black music for black people, but the birth of this
is
essentially
pretty black. I mean, I won't name check her, but she did. I remember when I said to somebody who I know very well that I like techno, she's like, "Ooh, what you know my music for? I was like, do you know who started techno? No. I was like, I had to educate her about, you know, where techno started.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, I've seen there's an organisation now called Black Techno Matters.
Oh, wow. Never heard of that.
Yeah.
From the States?
From the States, yeah.
They have to be from the States.
Yeah. But it's, it's...
I know, I get the sentiment.
Yeah, the sentiment, yeah.
It just bothers me, because I'm like, you had to go there, like,
Yeah, no, I know. I think that, but I think that's the point, because it's like, all right. But at the same
in the
time,
States,
like,
you don't have a choice, right?
Yeah.
Now. Right now, you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like, but Black Techno Matters, and what's great is that they're sort of just a bit like what we try to do with Black Jungle Alliance, just show people, all right, this is what it is now, but you need to understand the legacy of where it came from.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's important, and actually to help encourage more diversity, because if black people here, for example, knew that jungle was something that was made with the collaboration of white people, was a collaborative thing, but we were a major part of it. I think black people in this country, for example, I mean, I can only talk for black people, so I know there's other races, but I only tend to just talk about black, if you like. But I think there was a time when a lot of black people understood and were happy to be involved and attached to jungle. But I think there were things that happened in the scene where certain sounds came out, or certain ideas come out, or certain vibes left, and, you know, it weren't necessarily attracting that same crowd. Now, there's my more cynical friends would say it was very deliberate, it was a conspiracy, it was, you know...
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know if it was that, but I just think that, you know, what I'm all about now is being evangelistical almost about jungle to the black community. Because I think that's really the only way we're going to sort of kind of readdress it. Just sort of let people who might not be represented in the crowds or on the stages know that this is a place that they can be, and it is something for them, and it is somewhere where they can go and enjoy the music like everyone else. So, I mean, that is something, I mean, I've been joking about doing it, but...
Why do you feel like that's important to you?
You know what, someone asked me that a long time ago. Chris blew my 10. I'm gonna name check him. He called me, he goes, why is it...
Who played with me that night for Dave?
For Dave? Oh shit, right.
It was him and James and...
Oh yeah,
ASC.
Yeah, I mentioned him again yesterday. ASC's a legend. Chris Blue Martin's a legend. I mean, I have a lot of respect for Chris. I almost said I love that man, but I don't love him.
He's okay, man.
He's alright.
I wear heels.
Yeah, that's alright. I do on occasion too. But what I'm saying is that, you know, he was sort of like, why is it so important? Like, and I was like,
oh no, I'm not asking like that.
No, I know you're not. But hear me out. So what I'm saying is like he.
That's derogative. That's
no,
like...
no. He wasn't. I don't think he was meaning to be, because I think what he was trying to say was like. I think he was being cynical a little bit, because I think what he was trying to say was, you know, can't you see it's lost now? Like, you know what I mean? Almost, you know, and they're kind of like, can't you see that it's just not what it was anymore?
Wow.
And that really broke my heart, because he wasn't trying to be negative. He was just sort of
trying to help you out.
He was trying to help me out. It's like, Chris,
it's a lost fight.
It's almost a fight you're never going to win.
Yeah.
But I've always disagreed with him on that. And, you know, end of the day, I just feel like that I just wanted a situation where my son is 11 now, right? So in the next 5-6 years, he's going to start going clubbing.
Yeah.
Right? Hopefully. Or not. Whatever he chooses to do. But if he does, I want him to...
Virtual clubbing.
Yeah, well, yeah, he'll probably be seeing a Minecraft room with like people raving and stuff, I think. But
hopefully not.
Yeah, hopefully not. But what I want is the situation that when he goes out, that it's not... You know, that it's something that's a bit more diversity, more LGBTQ, you see more women, you see more, you know, diversity in all sorts, or more inclusiveness.
Yeah.
I just didn't want a situation where he was, you know, he wouldn't feel that the industry his dad had chosen to be in is not something he can be in.
Yeah. Now,
he probably will never be, you know, into jungle saying, well, you know, our kids don't always take on our music.
Okay, now we understand what he does really want, but okay.
Yeah, I totally want him to be a junglist, yeah, but like...
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah, of course, but... You know, end of the day, you never really...
No, you don't.
You don't always follow your parents. So, you know, I've accepted that.
I'm hoping someone makes a Billie Eilish remix.
Which
a
one?
jungle remix.
Of...
I don't care what track. For my daughter.
Yeah, right, yeah. Exactly, we'll get her on it. Do you know what I mean? I think it's you've got to encourage as well. But you know, like the hope for me is my niece.
Yeah.
Sorry, you know, I'm not gonna answer that. It's my. I was gonna take a call on the podcast.
Hey, if you.
It's like, who is that? But my niece, Lola, she's my hope.
She's showing signs.
She's showing signs. She's got a radio show on.
She's looking at you like this. Like,
Yeah. No, well,
What's-
we talk a lot about music. And,
Oh, how old is she?
God, she's at university, so she's like
Okay. Yeah,
19.
Doesn't matter. Okay.
And so she started DJing.
Oh, okay.
And she finds it quite difficult, but I said, look, persevere. She's got a radio show now at her
Oh, wow.
university. Yeah.
Damn.
So I'm very, very proud of her. Yeah, man, I'm so proud of her. Lola, do your thing.
Yeah, man.
Do your thing.
Yeah,
Play.
yeah.
Make sure you always have a jungle section. in
Just
the
be
radio show.
honest. Just be honest.
Just be honest. That's it.
Yeah.
But play all your uncle's records, yeah?
No, yeah. Honestly.
yeah, but play it honestly, but play it. So I'm
So
really...
she's playing drum and bass jungle.
Well, I think it's sort of like a multi-genre show.
Okay. Oh, that's beautiful, man.
But I said, well, you got to have a little dance music section. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
20 minutes or whatever. You don't have to play all jungle, but play whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I need to package her up some music actually. So once I've sent some music, hopefully she'll be playing it, and I hope she can encourage her generation to get into not just the sort of top 10 stuff, but to introduce them to other stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember, is it Joe Nice? Yeah, Joe Nice. Yeah, Joe Nice.
Joe
He's
Nice from New York.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he was like the dubstep guy.
Mm-hmm.
But he was like one of the only guys in
I
America.
know what he's doing now.
I would love to know what he's doing now. He was. I remember we had some amazing chats on AIM on the old AOL Instant Messenger. But he
AIM.
always, AIM, yeah, I loved it. Yeah, man, I loved it. But he always was talking about how he was just going to persevere because he knew that this thing was going to blow up, and he stuck with his guns. I'm sure he benefited from all that happening. But you just got to persevere, and if you believe in the music,
I can tell you he did it out of love. I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, exactly.
But
Yeah.
I can tell you.
Yeah.
I mean, dubstep was not supposed to be big.
No.
In the States.
No.
There is no reason culturally for them to understand that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did it.
Yeah, and he made it big, and that's what I'm saying. It just needs one or two people to sort of push it. And I mean, you had Diesel Boy over there.
Yeah.
You had you got Dara, obviously we mentioned
DB and all that.
DB. You got Armani Rain.
Chris Inperspective.
Well, I was talking about the American guys. Brett. And then like in terms of the artists,
Christian Bruna, Bo, DJ Odie.
Oh, Christian Bruna don't like me.
Oh, good.
Oh,
No, I love Chris, man. Chris gave me one of the most honest opinions.
oh, right, really?
Ever.
He seems like
Ever.
he seems like an opinionated chap.
He is.
Yeah.
He's very much like someone else I know.
It must be a Chris thing. Well, you know what? We had. I'm gonna say it because end of the day it was all public. But
No, Chris is from New York. He's old school, man. So
Yeah, so
he
he's-
would appreciate you being honest, and Chris knows I love him, man. He knows that.
And look, Chris, I ain't got no beef with you, but we did have a few crosswords. There was like a
Yeah.
few threats of like, if you come over to America.
Oh my God!
Oh yeah, he went
That's
there.
so like him.
Yeah, he went over there. Yeah, wait until I see you. If you come to the States, I'll see you. In the
Very,
streets. It's
very
like,
New
I
York.
was like,
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what, bro?
Old
Whatever.
school,
I'm
old
fucking
school.
Lucian. Whatever.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
I'm from fucking
I
South
could
London.
tell you would both really like each other.
Well, I hope so, Chris. So make sure.
I don't know where he's at now.
Yeah.
I still follow him on social media. But
Yeah.
I don't stalk.
I ain't got no beef, but I remember during that he sort of.
Let me ask you a good question.
Go on then.
Okay, this is a delicate one.
No,
so
no.
you got to think before you talk.
I never do.
I'm saying this for myself, but what do you think about? Okay, I'm old school, and what was important back in the day was not only your skill
Yeah.
as an artist, but
Yeah.
also your honesty
Yeah.
in your performance. So I feel like today that's gone.
Yeah.
Today is not about how good you are.
No.
It doesn't even matter how bad you are.
Not always. No.
So my question is, how is that helping or hindering our scene? Because my jealous self
Yeah.
sees DJs get opportunities,
Yeah.
and I have to go to therapy to kind of rinse that out of my head
Yeah.
and restart
Yeah.
and find my own place.
Yeah.
But I have these episodes where
Yeah.
I'm like, they don't. I deserve that. They
Yeah.
all deserve that, and so.
The imposter syndrome thing, innit? It's like what do they call it? Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking like back in the day.
Yeah.
It took me 3 years to get a gig.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to
Yeah.
Christian Bruna. Like, I had to give him tapes until he said yes. You know, and that was a hugely influential to me. Like it helped me grow a lot.
Yeah.
It actually helped me to hear myself honestly.
Yeah.
You know, you could have done it in a nicer way, but
Yeah.
But what I mean is, now I see DJs jump the line,
Right.
and they call themselves DJs, and some of them it may even work for them.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking more, not for me personally, because that would be really easy.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking more about like, what does that do to a scene? Let's not even think jungle. I'm just talking about in general.
Yeah. I mean, look, I was a chef for 7 years.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Right. So
you're gonna cook lunch today?
No, but no, we can. I certainly can. But so in a similar way, there's like a guy called Joe Wicks here in the UK. You might have heard of him, right? But he's just a handsome guy with long hair.
Yeah.
And basically, he became a massive thing because he had a pecs and, you know, he was handsome and he did really healthy vegan food and stuff.
Okay.
Now, he might be an amazing chef, but we all know the reason why he got that big is because he looks good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think what's happening now is that we're in a very, very much more visual world.
Yeah.
And I think that the visual element of the music industry is what's potentially jumping people ahead. So, I mean, we mentioned Nina Kravitz earlier on, or Nastia, or, you know, or Amelie Lenz, or, I mean, even the likes of a Dimension, or, I'm trying to sort of think who, even, you know, and I love, don't say this the wrong way, Alex Perez, for example.
Yeah.
You know, they're all good looking people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? This is, you know, and that helps.
Yeah.
And I think in a visual world, it helps even more.
Yeah.
Back in the day, there were DJs you wouldn't ever want to look at with a light on.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, end of the day, they were still one of the best DJs you probably ever heard.
Yeah.
I'm certainly not naming any names. But, you know, it's not like that now. And you've got situations where, and I mean, this is something that someone actually told me very recently, about 3 weeks ago, that some of the top techno DJs, like for example, were kind of almost like, it's almost like a boy band or sort of thing, or girl band, you know.
Where they kind of go to the gym.
Well, it's almost, well, what I was told was that some of those main DJs that you've got, like especially in the techno world, you know, were like just picked up from modelling agencies and then just sent, right, there you go. Because at the end of the day, you got to look. So then if you start DJing, happy days.
Yeah.
Now that sounds like I'm being misogynistic. I'm not. I'm just saying that might be something there might be something in that.
Yeah.
And it might be something where, you know, now people need to know. Well, not only need to know, but they need to see.
I'm trying to understand what is the positive
well
reason behind this.
I
Because
don't
I
know.
remember back in the day, if you were a bad DJ,
Yeah. You won't get booked.
you might not get booked again.
Yeah.
And you might even get kicked off.
Yeah.
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 And that meant that the experience that the club goer, who
Yeah.
I think is the most important, left home with a reason to come back.
Yeah.
And now I see DJs who I have to personally come up to and say, "Hey, bro, you need to practice.
Yeah.
You know, you need to." And then they look at me like I'm insulting them, right? And I'll be like, "No, just like an hour a day or something." Bro, I've been DJing for 20-something years, and I still practice every day, and you know, and it's like a way of saying, like, you know, I'm trying to stimulate. I'm trying to get them to respect the.
But I think what it is for me is that for a lot of people now, we come in a world where we've got, like, you know, sort of like talent competitions as TV shows.
Oh yeah.
And like there's this sort of
Easy access.
Easy access. It's sort of like instant kind of like, well, you know, I've put myself in this place, therefore I should be getting this, and this.
Yeah. The reason I'm asking is because the jungle scene used to be like a wall that you had to push through.
Yes.
And now I'm not so sure. Generally speaking, I'm not so sure it's so much.
I think people who have really good social media game give themselves opportunities. I mean, I think the equivalent of that is almost like say, like in the old days, a DJ might, well, they might not have done, but say
like a producer DJ.
Yeah, or producer DJ, or whatever.
Yeah.
But any person playing music publicly, you know, you go to clubs and ask them to book you, right? For example, right? You know, that'd be the equivalent of that. Nowadays, you don't necessarily have to do that because you can send a club your show reel, or you know what I mean. So I think a lot of that has happened because of social media.
Yeah.
And also technology. So now, technically speaking, no one's really learning to mix on vinyl really anymore.
No.
Right? We both did, like our generation and generation brother. Yeah. So, you know, in theory, you can have someone that doesn't really know or maybe necessarily hasn't put in all the hours, but can still, through record box and sync button, can still entertain a crowd. Yeah. You know, some of the artists at my former employees were essentially playing sets of their own music because the fans were it was like a live PA rather than a DJ set. Yeah. So it was like the fans were just into the person. Yeah. And they loved the person. They loved their music, not knocking them, but it didn't matter if they were that good a DJ. Yeah. So because, you know, and because you've got the technology, it means that those people could be good DJs. Yeah. So I think it's a combination of a few things. Yeah. Technology, in terms of the technology we use to play music and the technology we use to promote ourselves. And I think those are the two things that have changed everything. Ultimately, though, a quality DJ I still maybe naively think that quality DJs and quality, you know, music wins. Maybe I'm wrong in that, but I would like to think that will never change. And I don't know, but to answer your question whether it helps the scene or not, I don't know if it helps or hinders. I just think it just is now.
It's a new thing.
Yeah, I just think, you know, it's like, well, the world's changed. I mean, you know, look, I mean, we have conversations about all sorts of things in his house, and you know, and even Hamza, who was on last night, No Nation, sorry, you know, we were talking about a multitude of things, and I talk about a multitude of things to, you know, all sorts of people, and you know, there's new plateaus that we're reaching in terms of, you know, sexuality and, you know, gender identity and all these sort of things, and for an old dog like me, some of it's a bit confusing, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, all right, so you're queer, so what does that mean? So you're not gay, but you're queer, and you know what I mean? Just trying to learn all the nuances about, you know, all the gender ideologies and everything else. And for some people, you know, it's just, oh, fucking, this is no nonsense. You used to be men and women, now in fact, it's like, yeah, I know, but there was a time when, you know, interracial relationships were seen as, you know what I mean, like taboo, and
not long ago,
not that long ago at all, and people would be like, well, fucking, why everything's changing? Like, you got black people going out, white people now. It's like, what the fuck's going on? That was the plateau then. Yeah. And I think we're just on a different plateau now.
Yeah, I'm just trying to learn how to not adapt. That's not the word. Yeah. I'm trying to learn how to redefine.
Hold on. Hello.
Chris?
Yes, mate.
Yeah.
Hold on. Got a delivery. It's all happening on this one. Thank you, brother. Cheers, mate.
I was just saying that I'm trying to redefine. See, because the thing is, from really early on, I had this concept that I wanted to fight for my music.
I'm going to open this up in case it's porn. Sorry. It's all right.
Fight for my music. Yeah. That was it. That was like everything I do is going to be to push my music forward. Yeah. Not like my DJ sets. I mean, jungle music. Bass music.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I'll represent that.
And so in the old school guard, what's happening now with DJs jumping the line, it's very backwards to me. So I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to understand how this could be a positive equation for the jungle drum and bass scene.
Well,
I understand what's going to happen is going to happen.
Yeah.
We're not obviously going to change it, but I'm just saying, like, how can I, you know, take a different turn to understand, at least so that it doesn't hurt my emotions.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's so easy to be like, oh, he's a good-looking motherfucker, so that's why he's playing.
Yeah.
And now he has equipment that helps him to perform. Yeah. What else do you need, you know? Yeah. He's got a guy taking videos for him, you know? Like, I've never had someone do a video for me.
No, exactly. So, and that's the thing. And I think there are... Oh, sorry, finish.
No, so I was just saying, so, like, back in the day, the guy who was a really good DJ... It was like a magical aura around. It's like, they've Christianed us. You know what I mean? But now it's more like, okay, when is this guy gonna finish?
Yeah.
You know, and you started playing 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
so I'm trying to figure out a way, because I want to be open. I want to keep growing. You know, I'm 45,
Yeah.
and I want to be involved in the scene, and I live far from London, so I'm trying to figure out how I can help the local DJs to see a future, to see that there's multiple levels, and you know, and that's one of those things that's hindering me. It's one of those things that, like, I have to make a real effort to be like, okay, let me help this guy or girl, you know.
Yeah. I think it's it's slightly adapt or die a little bit. I think there's been DJs that have clearly worked out for themselves that, all right, well, this is the world we're in now. I'm just gonna have to get on board if I want to stay in. And, you know, I mean, a fantastic example is Marvelous Kane. I mean, he's obviously a legend from back in the day. We all know who he is if you're above a certain age, certainly. But what's fantastic is he's generated a huge younger audience for himself because he's so heavily engaged on socials. I mean, his album promotion was fantastic. I don't know if you saw any of those.
I did. Yeah.
They had me in fucking stitches.
Yeah.
Right, because they were so like silly and just fun, and just like he's not taking himself too seriously. He's making jokes. He's involving people from his local community. It's just everything was perfect about it. And, you know, I think there's, you know, like him. I mean, Fabio, for example, is another one who's been very, very prevalent on social media. You know, Ray Keith. I mean, his videos just always make me laugh when he does that slow reveal, turn to camera and all that stuff.
Yeah, no, it's, for me, it's been great to see him with his family.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I mean.
Humanize them.
It humanizes it, and I think you know the you know, when you talk to PR companies and stuff like that, they always tell you that it's not just enough to promote a product. There has to be a story. Yeah. Because I think nowadays, I think people need to connect with the individual. So that's why, you know, the kid on the bike, you know, is so popular, because people connected with him and connected with his love of music, that he went to the point of going around on a bike and playing music. Now, some people will look at him and go, oh, he's fucking nonsense, you know what I mean? He's a load of shit. Whatever. I mean, you know, you take it or leave it, but he's found a way. You know what I mean? Now, there'll be people that think, well, he's only been DJing 10 minutes, like, as he's getting all his opportunity. Well, it's because he took a gamble, he did this, he's done the other thing, and it's blown up for him. Happy days. So, whether or not it helps, I don't know whether it helps or hinders. It certainly helps the individuals that have done those things. I think after the Black Lives Matter shit, I think there was, you know, there was sort of what some people might describe as tokenism, you know, so it meant that, you know, DJs who weren't necessarily getting lots of opportunities suddenly got lots of opportunities because promoters needed black DJs or they needed female DJs or whatever. And so, you know, and there's a couple of individuals I spoke to, you know, I mean, I won't call her out now, but she was very uncomfortable with the sudden uptake of bookings she was getting. Because she kind of knew it wasn't really about her gift. It was about the fact that she was a woman. And that made her feel uneasy. And I said, well, don't fucking feel uneasy. Just take the opportunities and prove to people what a good DJ you are. So, you know, and she's done that. So, it's something that I've sort of wrestled with at the beginning, but slowly but surely I've sort of come around. I mean, you know, even, you know, doing this podcast, you know, it's something that, you know, obviously I'm a Joe Rogan fan. I've never really hid the fact that I'm a fan of Joe Rogan. And
it's crazy that you even have to say that.
Well, you know what? It's because I
understand why.
Yeah, because
I understand why you're saying.
Well, I mean, I was dating. I've been dating over the summer. I was, you know, dating different women and all this sort of stuff, and then, you know, on Bumble, right? And you know, there was 2 instances where there was one woman I was actually chatting to for quite a while, and we were gonna meet, and, you know, we were getting on really well. And I just slipped it out in a conversation. Oh yeah, I was watching Joe Rogan the other night. She was like, what? And I was like, oh yeah, I was, you know.
He's a male chauvinist.
And but he's that Nazi guy. And I was like, what do you mean Nazi guy? He's a weed smoking comedian who talks about MMA and just bullshit.
And,
like, you know what I mean?
He's very open.
And very open. He has all sorts of different people on there. And, you know,
you don't have to.
Yeah.
accept everything he says.
You don't have to accept what he says.
That's
or
the
his
point.
opinions, you know, and actually, a lot of the time, some of the people that he's given platforms to, when he brought them on, he's ripped him to shreds.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he was there with Candice Owens, ripping her to shreds. He was there with Matt Walsh the other week. They're arguing about gay marriage.
Yeah.
You know, Joe Rogan's pro-gay marriage, like any normal person should be. Why the fuck can't two people just get married? I don't give a shit. But Matt Walsh is like saying, well, it's grounded in the idea that it's a man and a woman, It's like, well, that's for procreation. It's like, well, what about men and women that can't have kids? It's like, you know, once you're getting into all this stopping people doing shit, it's like, well, when are you gonna, you know, you're gonna keep stopping people doing everything.
But he exists outside the box. And whenever you mention like Jordan Peterson, when you mention people that live outside the box, if you are the kind of person that is looking to grow, you're gonna be open to learn about all kinds of people.
Yeah, but listen.
But if you're the kind of person who's happy in their safety, then bringing up names like that is gonna trigger you.
Well,
you know?
I mean, you know, I know you won't mind calling him out, but Esteban Perry is a very, very good friend of mine. I love him to bits. But we've been pretty much having a 2-year debate about the idea that I watch, you know, some of these guys, and he doesn't understand why I do. And I'm like, because some of the things they say make sense. Some of it, I think, is bollocks. Yeah. You know, I mean, people like Stephen Crowder, you know, I used to watch him a little bit, but now he's just bitter. He just seems to just hate everything, you know. But like, you know, some of the other individuals, you sort of think, all right, well, you know, he's got a point of view. Like Jordan Peterson, I mean,
he says tons of shit I don't agree with.
Jordan Peterson says loads of things I don't agree with. But he also says, make your bed. You know what I mean? Like, it's a simple thing.
That book is a serious book, man.
I mean, you know, he's you know, and I get it. And
he struck a chord for sure.
He's definitely struck a chord, and I think that scares people because it's like, well, how can all these people think like this?
Yeah, because this is defending male, you know.
Well, this is it. So people sort of think, well, that means this, and this.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, I've had, you know what? I'm going to call him Emilio, HLZ. Love him to the day I die. I love the guy.
Don't know him.
And but we got into it, but we had some heated debate. Yeah. We didn't fall out or nothing, but he was very he was almost disappointed in me when he realised that I watched Joe Rogan.
How could you?
How could you? Yeah, he was because he had an idea that, you know, Joe Rogan was a certain thing, and then, but Chris, you're black, you're this, and it's like, well, but hold on a minute.
Oh, with the whole nigger thing.
Yes, so
of course
there was that. Yeah,
of course.
It was the Planet of the Apes comment, and
absolutely horrible.
It was terrible.
I felt so embarrassed.
Yeah, it was terrible.
When I saw that, I was like, this is the guy I've been watching.
Yeah. Well, he didn't say anything. He didn't say anything. What it was, he went to see Planet of the Apes. He said the joke was, he went to see Planet of the Apes, and it was like Planet of the Apes in the thing, right? It was a terrible joke.
Absolutely.
It was a terrible joke.
Horrible.
I have to admit.
Horrible.
I'm gonna admit it.
He went too far.
He went too far, but I did when I saw the footage of him saying it, I did still laugh, right? Only because it's such a ludicrous thing to say.
Well, I think it's because it's coming from a top comedian.
Yes.
So you understand.
Yeah.
If you understand comedians, you understand they have a loose brain.
Yeah.
They're like this.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes you're gonna fuck up, and that's why 100%. You have to have. Well, not me, but I mean the comedian himself has to have their ideals in place. Yeah. Because then they know how they can defend themselves. Exactly. They know that what they meant and what they didn't mean and what the point was, the joke or whatever, you know what I mean? So if you've been watching Joe Rogan, for example, for years.
Over 10 years.
And you happen to be a little older, who've experienced different things, different ideals and stuff, you can kind of go, oh man, you didn't have to go there. Nah. but you understand it's a comedian. If that was a politician.
Yeah. Oh, he's fucked. Yeah.
But it's a comedian. You're not supposed to take anything serious.
No.
Now, did he cross the line with the Planet of the Apes things? Yeah, but he let himself go there because he's a fucking comedian.
Exactly.
I'm not saying that it's okay that he went there. No. I'm saying that there's poetic justice. That sentence, that comes from somewhere.
Patrice O'Neill. Do you know Patrice O'Neill?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
he's a legend. I mean, I would have loved to have seen what he was saying with all the stuff going on now. It's one of the biggest losses
in the
world.
Right now, he would be.
We needed Patrice O'Neill the last 5 years, put it that way. But anyway, he said, because there was like that Don Imus controversy. Don Imus was, the commentator or the media, the radio guy in America, and he called some female, Ricky, you're so fucking loud. The female basketball players said, "Oh, they're a bunch of nappy-headed hoes," right?
I remember that.
Awful comment. It was again like the Planet. It was just a shitty joke. It sounded bad and it wasn't framed properly.
Yeah.
And you know, producer Neil went on to a news show to kind of argue the point on behalf of Don Imus.
Yeah.
Because he was saying, and one of the things he said that was beautiful in that conversation, he goes, good jokes and bad jokes all come from the same place.
Yeah.
A desire to make other people laugh. So we've got comedians in this country that you may not have heard of, but like this guy.
Desire to break walls.
Well, yeah,
open communication.
It's open communications,
Yeah.
but it's ultimately it's about making people laugh.
Yeah.
So you got comedians here that are known for their racist jokes, and, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Some of them you listen to. I mean, even Dave Chappelle said, he goes, "There's comedians I know that are on the left and the right, and some of those right wing comedians, they're saying shit on stage they believe, right?" Yeah. And that I would argue that's the same thing for some of those old school comedians from this country, Roy Chubby Brown, Jim Davison, all these guys just make all these terrible jokes, right? Yeah. But they were all trying to make their audience laugh.
Yeah.
Now I'm not defending it. I'm not defending their jokes. I'm not defending anything.
No,
but I defend the right for them to say the shit they want to say.
Yeah. It's a performance.
Yeah, it's a performance. Now I don't agree with how they do it. But at the same time, I'm a big Louis C.K. fan.
Yeah. Me too.
He's got a joke.
I just saw him a couple of months ago.
Oh wow, yeah, I've seen him.
Yeah.
I've never seen him live. I've never seen Louis live.
I've
seen Chappelle twice, and
I went with my wife
twice. Sorry, say again?
I went with my wife to see him.
Oh, to see Louis C.K.
Yeah, which is a woman going to see.
But what he did. Let's not get to the movie.
No.
Yeah, because he's apologised. He's back. No. So he's got that joke about fucking a dead 4-year-old. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And it's hilarious. Now, it sounds terrible when you say it, because if it was a nice day and it wasn't raining, then maybe I would. It's just like, it wasn't raining. It's just like, what? It's so disgusting.
This is the thing. For me, comedy is like it's the closest thing to like freeform jazz.
Absolutely.
Sometimes they're gonna play a note.
Yeah, that's a bum note. Yeah.
So you just like, oh man, you just fucked up the whole night.
Yeah.
But thankfully, there are a lot of beautiful notes.
100%.
And
100%.
I don't know. I'm trying to bring it back to the music, and that's kind of like what I need from good DJs.
Yes. Yeah.
Is the good notes.
The good notes. Yeah.
But the bad notes.
Yeah.
I appreciate more now than I ever did.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, that makes you human. That
absolutely.
Perfect sets are the most boring thing that I've had to deal with as a promoter.
Yeah.
And I've seen plenty of clangers getting applaud at the end of the sets. That's not true, man.
That is true, man.
It's not.
No. Let's call it as it is. I'm not.
I don't remember the clanging, man.
I was a lot better by the time I come and played for you. But
Yeah.
I remember my first tour to America.
Yeah.
And like I remember some of the sets I played was awful because I just wasn't I wasn't prepared enough, and I was just a bit nervous, and there's so many different things that were going wrong, and there was some awful sets. But but just to bring it back to comedy. Yeah. But I admire comedians so much for their bravery. Again, Louis C.K. when he did his SNL bit about paedophiles and mouse bars, right? It's like, it's just. And it was like he was
the intelligence behind
the intelligence to be able to come up with a concept and say, I like mouse bars, but no way as much as paedophiles like fucking kids, and just what I mean? It's just like, and it's so terrible because I'm a father. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like,
I know, but that's the point.
That's what I mean.
It's breaking the ice.
It's
getting the conversation to happen.
I think so, and I think that comedy is. Been a perfect.
Oh man!
I mean, I love comedy. I mean, and the thing is, when I talk to people about UK comics, I'm like, there's Ian Lee, there's Frankie Boyle, Gervais. I'm still a fan of. I like Gervais.
Yeah.
But it's the Americans. It's like Anthony Jeselnik, for example.
Man, right now, honestly, it's.
Would you say it's a golden age for comedy in America? I feel like there's so many good comics.
Look, I'm just saying, I have this weird perception because when I go to the States, I go to the Northeast, New York, New Jersey, I go to Chicago, I go to Shreveport, Louisiana, Austin, that area, and there are topics that they're not open for conversation.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to talk about this now.
Yeah.
And so when I see this comedy happening, and I'm completely hooked.
Yeah.
I'm almost thinking like, is it a crowd that thinks like me and is completely agreeing with everything that you're saying and flowing with you?
No.
Or is it a crowd that's kind of like feeling tortured in a good way? Like, guilty conscious, like, yeah, it's exactly what's the truth right now, and I don't like it. Like, I was watching the new comedy special from Ari Shaffir. Jew.
Yeah.
Bro, I grew up in New York, I was like, oh my God, it's a Jewish guy joking about Jews, so this is okay.
Yeah.
This is okay. And there were so many moments where he had me and my wife kind of like feeling that guilty feeling, like I shouldn't be laughing about this. Yeah. And you could see the crowd where I was trying to find that crowd. Like, this is obviously New York. I don't know where else it is, but or it could be. But I'm wondering, is this crowd prepared for Ari Shaffir, or is this crowd like, oh man, I can't believe he just said that?
No, but I think it's half and half. I think it's a percentage, I think there's going to be a lot of
that's
people.
the part that I'm kind of very curious about. I saw Joe Rogan this summer in Chicago. And it was like Joe Rogan heaven. Everyone was there for him, and obviously Tony Hinchcliffe opened for him.
I love Tony Hinchcliffe.
And Hans.
Yeah. Who?
Hans.
Oh, yeah. I know. Yeah. He's brilliant.
Bro, both of them were almost worse than Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
In the sense of like pushing the envelope.
Yeah.
And
Tony Hinchcliffe is dark side. Man.
And it was a big venue.
Yeah.
And I left with my wife thinking, and I said to her, where are these people day to day?
Yeah.
They all seem to comprehend.
Yeah.
They all seem to understand the underlying problem with this country.
Yeah.
But everything continues to be the same.
Yes.
There's this huge comedy scene right now
Yeah.
where the truth is being spoken in a forwards or backwards way.
Yeah.
But everyone's pushing the envelope.
Yeah.
And yet culturally everything seems to be the same.
It does seem to be, but what Chappelle said that comedy is the last free space. Or something in entertainment.
Right now,
yeah, I think it's something like that.
Definitely not music or movies.
No, it's not, because it's like, it was on Rogan actually. They said, what was the last big comedy blockbuster that we've had in the movies, and it would have probably been The Hangover, and that was over 15 something years ago, because since then the PC thing has taken over so much.
Yeah, nothing's funny anymore.
That nothing could be funny anymore because you're always going to offend someone.
The limit. Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. talked on Joe Rogan about playing that character in Tropic Thunder.
Yeah,
right? Now, would he be able to do that now?
Fuck no!
No way!
They would kill him.
He would be lynched. But watch the film. Because
there's a reason he's doing it.
He was taking the piss out of the prostitute.
But that's what you just said.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
With social media.
Yeah.
You're not watching the film. You're criticizing before you're watching the film.
Yes, Esteban, which is why you need to watch Dave Chappelle's specials. You can. Because Esteban, who I love, he slags off Chappelle. He hates Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
And he's going, he hasn't really any jokes. He's not a joke writer.
Not right now.
He's never really
Right now,
been,
it's not about that.
He does funny TED Talks.
He's reached a level that we haven't seen in a long time in comedy.
I don't think
I would say since the closest I would say is what's the name of the other one? The one of the best ever.
Carlin.
Yeah, Carlin too, but Carlin was more social. No. New York, no, not New York. Black mustache was burnt.
Richard Pryor.
Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
Richard Pryor reached towards the end a level of social commentary that was very pushing the edge.
Yes.
And Carlin had some of those moments too.
Yeah.
But it was also at a time when PC culture didn't really exist.
It didn't really exist, no.
So it was, and also there wasn't social media. So it's like in this room they could make all the noise they wanted.
Yeah.
Now that shit explodes. You know?
Exactly. So someone says one joke. I mean, even
Joe Rogan's a perfect example. You watch a clip and you just assume that he's racist, that he's male chauvinist. But yeah, man, I have kids just like you, and I'm trying to explain to them the good powers of the social media. But also the bad,
the bad side. Yeah.
And that's hard to explain.
It is hard to explain. But you mentioned Pryor. Pryor had a special where he did it in like Greenwich Village or something. It's like a really close black and white one. Have you seen that one? Yeah. And it was when because he
that was originally an album. That was like highest selling album.
Right.
Yeah, I think it was.
Niggas Crazy. No, that's the.
I don't remember the
names.
Yeah.
But the one.
It was after. You talking about the one after he was recuperated from the burns?
Before
that.
No, it was before. So what it was, he was like the suit sort of.
Oh no, that's younger Pryor.
Yeah, when younger Pryor was like the suited guy, right?
Yeah.
And it was after he was like, I don't want to do this. I want to be more free. And so he did this really interesting, and the thing is, the audience aren't laughing a lot, right? But the stuff that he says in it.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
About Chappelle.
Yes.
That's the level he's reached right now.
Yes.
You're going there to laugh.
Yeah.
But he's so intriguing.
Yeah.
In his storytelling.
Yeah.
That you want, and intriguing in the sense that he's not speaking facts. He's speaking emotionally.
100%.
So you're understanding his pain. You're understanding his perception. You're understanding how he's trying to be understanding of what's going on.
100%. But what's also really interesting about Chappelle is highly educated.
Yeah.
This is the thing.
Well,
and
Ohio.
I mean, he's from he lives there now, but both his parents. He did. Sorry, but both his parents were teachers.
Yeah.
This is a highly educated man.
Yeah.
And so, his Emmett Till bit. Well, it's not a bit. It's sort of like a story. How he describes what happened to Emmett Till.
Yeah.
I mean, that was, and the other thing he did, the 8 minutes 49 thing when he talks about what was going on. I was crying.
I know. Come on.
Who
wasn't?
But
here's the point.
Beautiful.
The way his level of comedy right now is the way he explains his stories or his expressions, his ideas. He plays with when he's going to drop the joke.
Right.
And you can tell that the joke was not pre-thought.
No.
the joke was immediate. Like it happened there, So that's the part that I think most people are engaged in.
Yes.
Like, okay, I agree with what you're saying, or I'm understanding this new feeling that you're giving me, and then suddenly, boom, bam.
And
you're like, oh man, wow, okay, we are here. Okay, so, so he's using comedy to communicate.
100%. It is a form of communication.
Yeah.
Because I love the bit where he goes, I'm going to do an impression. And he goes, and he's like, duh, whatever you say in the past, I want to destroy you, and you're never going to be able to work again.
Yeah.
Who's that? And then they're like, that's you! Yeah. And it's like, yeah.
There's so many levels to his comedy.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Esteban. If you watch his specials, you'd understand that. Because he doesn't write jokes. Yes, Kevin Hart's fucking funny.
Yeah,
but I can't bring him up at a dinner table conversation because, you know what I mean? Like, because he's just talking about his life and, my dad was a drug addict and whatever. And don't get it wrong. Kevin Hart is hilarious. I will laugh my head over at Kevin Hart. Yeah. He does write great jokes. He's a great performer.
He's a comedian.
He's a great comedian.
Everyone's got their thing.
Everyone's got their thing.
Chappelle's
on another level.
He's trespassed.
Look, man, they all
and I think his biggest days are coming, man.
I think so. I think so. Run for office, but
I think he's intelligent.
Yeah, he's too smart to do that. Yeah, I know, and that's the problem.
Yeah,
because something I've been saying recently.
Why would you ever?
Well, here's my thing, right? There was a time when politics, you would have a job, like a 9 to 5, and then you'd be a politician as well, right?
Not in the States.
No. Well, maybe not in the States, but I feel as though there was a time, I can't tell you when, but I feel as though there was times in my lifetime that some of the politicians I've saw on TV had other jobs, or at least had a day job, or had something else they did. Mm-hmm. And I think now we're in the era of the professional politician.
Popular.
So I think it's just turned into a popularity contest, and that's why you can have a Trump end up winning, because ultimately he's just got to present himself in a certain way, say certain things, and then get in office. So I mean, that's why people have talked about Dwayne Johnson becoming president one day, because he's so popular. He could probably do it.
If he runs, careful.
If he ran, he'd probably win, right?
He would get votes, man, which is embarrassing.
I mean,
bro, if he got one vote, his parents shouldn't even vote for him. My parents wouldn't vote for me to be a fucking president of the United States.
I'm for the Rock. Why are you voting for the Rock, mate? You know what I mean?
I'm not hating on him, man. I'm just saying politicians are there to be political.
They are.
They're not there to entertain.
They're not there to entertain. Are you entertained? But they're not there to entertain. But he, I would argue, is also intelligent enough to be able to. I mean, look at Schwarzenegger. You know.
Yeah.
I think. You know, whatever you think about Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's a clearly intelligent man.
Yeah.
And even when he was the governor of California, I mean, you know, he was Republican, but I liked how he said things, and I would have voted for him.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's a lot of what it is. And so if you've got that popularity, you can turn people around to your points of view and maybe your policies or whatever it is, and get them to go behind it.
Let me remind you, the United States is not run by the president.
Yeah, no. Doesn't feel like it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's this thing, you know, that happens in Washington, on the outsides of Washington. That is the only country in the world where it's legal.
Yeah.
You know, and
the lobbying thing. Yeah.
They run the country.
Yes.
So this is one of the reasons when I left
the
United States, we had a dinner with I have a big family.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I said with the cups, you know.
Yeah.
I was like, you know, I'm leaving behind my family in the struggle and the pain of this country because I can leave.
Yeah.
But it's very painful for me to know that the majority of you don't even understand how this country runs.
Yeah.
And they all looked at me like,
what the fuck
that was insulting. When you're leaving the country, this is what you say to us? But I knew I had a reason to tell them that.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, hopefully one of you picks up a fucking book.
Yeah.
You know, and understands what's really happening here. But there's a reason why Julie and I, my wife, we can't stand this system anymore.
Yeah.
And you're all paying into it. You can all cry all day, all night about who's going to be the popular guy to be up in the office, but at the end of the day, he's just a puppet, no matter who it is. I'm sorry, you know, there's a lot of people who love Obama and love Clinton and love Trump and love, you know, no matter what side we're talking about, ultimately, they're just there to do what everyone else is telling them to do.
It's telling us to do, because I mean, is it Obama started the whole thing? Is it Oman? What's that country that's fucked now? Oman? No, not Oman. Shit. Damn it.
With Obama?
Yeah, there was a thing where he sort of basically set off this shit. I'm gonna have to. You know what? Sometimes I need to. You know what? I'm on the next. One of the next thing. I'm gonna make sure I've got a laptop here so I can quickly Google things.
Yeah.
But wasn't Trump? One of the things that Trump did, he got rid of all the lobbyists, though, didn't he?
I was about to say something I shouldn't say.
No, say it.
No, I can't, because it'll hurt my family's members' feelings. So I love my family, so that's one I can't cross. Okay, all right. Well, that's not. But there was some racist remarks mentioned about, you know, thank God we had a black president, you know.
Right.
And I'm like, you don't even realize how racist that is, but because. Ultimately, he ended up doing the same thing every president does. So what you're valuing is the color of his skin.
Yeah.
So it's. Racist.
I mean, he was still sending drones and stuff. You know, he was still killing people.
When I read that most people killed under his administration ever.
Yeah.
Than any other president, including Trump.
Yeah.
Well, Trump, that's easy because he was, you know, he was busy with his pockets.
Yeah, I mean, but Obama was responsible for, you know,
but
millions of people being.
You know, I wanted to love Obama too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wanted to love Clinton too, and because I was liberal and this and that, and then you understand. Oh wait, no, this system works in a completely different way, and it's really not who's in the office. You know,
it really doesn't matter, and it's like with Joe Biden. You know,
Joe Biden, same thing.
I mean, you know, remember he was the rave act guy, right?
Yeah.
So he is an enemy of dance music.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I remember. I remember.
You know, as much as people sort of think, oh, well, you know, he's all right. You know, I mean, you know, I love.
No, I'm sure he's a great grandfather.
Yeah, but was it? Someone described. Oh yeah, Esteban actually. He described it as a Dixie crap. Is that? It's like. Yeah. So he would have had. Yeah. Slaves in his house and. Yeah. But you know, he's sort of like he would have been the nice slave owner. You know what I mean? Like, you know.
Can you trust any politician that's been in there for longer than 10 years?
Yeah, you can. And I mean, you know.
I mean, when you understand lobby systems, and you understand politics in the States, you think about what you have to do to climb up that ladder.
Yeah.
how could there possibly be a saint up there?
I don't think there is, and I mean even Kamala Harris, you know, everyone was like, oh, you know, first woman of colour to be vice president and everything else. And it's like, hold on a minute.
What did she do to get there?
Isn't she responsible for putting away more black men?
Yeah.
As District Attorney of Chicago, was it?
Probably.
And
I don't know.
She put away
I'm
more
not
black
100%.
men in prison for weed.
Yeah.
Than any other district attorney in history.
No, I laugh out of nerves, out of anger. Because it's you know, when I talk to my family and friends, ultimately, you know, that's when it becomes real. Is when you're like what you see at ground level. You know, when I have family members who've lost their lives because of the lack of social health care, or you know, the bad schooling, the bad education, the things that I had to go through, with racism, with economics, with all these things, and you know. And knowing that my sister's there, my brother's there, my nephew's there, my cousins, uncles, you know, and I go back there to visit. I don't want to be the you know the bearer of the bad news, you know. But it's like I can't help but compare to my shitty life in Barcelona, and I'm like, thank God I'm in Barcelona because this is only getting worse. And it sounds like I'm critiquing, but really it's coming out of a place that I wish things would turn around where. You know, the politics would become again a social job. You know what I mean? Not a popularity contest. You know.
Exactly, and actually, I'm glad you mentioned job because that was the thing I was going to say real quick. Because about you know, I feel as though even if there wasn't a time that it wasn't politics while it worked, I think what should happen, maybe in this country it can happen easier or in America, I feel like politicians should have a job that they should have a job that they do maybe 2 or 3 days a week, and then they're a politician 2 days or 3 days a week. Because I think there's a
Nordic countries, no, they do that.
I know there's a place where exactly right. You have a job and then you're a politician.
It's like a boring office job,
right? But then but it means that you're sort of grounded. So at least it means you're living a day life. You know that the decisions you make at this level are going to affect you as well, right? So I think
I'm sure there's tons of red tape and shit they have to deal with.
I'm sure,
but you know.
But there's a disconnect. That's what I'm saying. Like with the career politician, there's a disconnect because they go from school to university to politics. And then it's like, well, you've not lived any life. You've not done anything. You've not sort of like experienced what it's like to be on the dole or you know, benefits or welfare, whatever. Or you're not experienced what it's like to have to go and find a job or experience. So it means that they come out with policies based on no experience almost. And it's like, you know, when is you know, I mean, Trump or Biden, whenever any of them stood in a supermarket queue. You know what I mean? Like, for example, probably never. Neither of them have ever.
No idea.
Probably never had to.
But I can tell you they've scratched a lot of backs to get to where they are.
100%.
That I can tell you.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, that's what. But that's what people have resorted to. It almost becomes mafioso, like, you know, in terms of you know. How it all is, and you know, and then when you see sort of people that are, I mean, you know, I thought Tulsi Gabbard, for example, you know, this is a woman that's Hawaiian. She served 2 tours, you know, as a medical officer, you know, and she had some really common sense kind of thinking, and she was a Democrat. And it's like, now she's, I don't know if she's a Republican now yet, but. Well, she might be. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't think she is, but she, you know, it just doesn't make sense that this woman isn't. How is she not president? I mean, I don't get it because she just everything she says is like that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, you know.
Because the projection of the United States internationally is that it's a great country and that anybody could be anything they want. So we all buy into this idea. So then it becomes very easy to be like, well, look, Obama did it. Right? But we don't really see how Obama got there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And sadly, it's not a clean path. You know, for the politics in the States. And as far as what it's going to take for that country to change,
nuclear war.
you know, nuclear war would bring people together.
I mean,
it did before, but you know, obviously, we hope that doesn't happen.
I mean, I've always secretly fantasized about like an alien invasion.
That would be great.
Do you know what I mean? Like, because then, do you know what I mean? Because then everyone's like, fuck,
we're all fucked.
We're all fucked if we don't do something about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, that Independence Day kind of thing.
I think this PC culture thing. I hope. I don't know, but I hope this PC culture thing is the pre-step to this new communication, open communication path. I think it's gonna be years still. But I hope we get to the point where we're communicating again. And we're saying things bluntly, And I think that's why comedy is so huge right now.
It's so important.
And I hope that is the path. And United States is going to have to go through a lot of shit. The reason the United States is the way it is right now is because they're eating. You know, they're not starving.
No.
So even though they're workaholics,
Yeah.
have a lot of health issues,
Yeah.
it's not a very healthy nation.
Yeah.
But they're happy with eating and watching TV. So that's what's keeping everything the same. And when I go back there, that's what I'm reaffirmed with. And that's why it's so depressing to me. And I'm like, you know, I remember the first time I went back to visit the States, we still didn't have a child. And we went to New York, and we got into the A train, I think it's the A train, all the way from JFK, which is a long ride into the city. And I sit down, and right in front of me, there was a young mother with 2 kids, Latin. One of them was sitting in a stroller, and the other one was sitting next to her eating Cheetos or something. and I was sitting there, and the first thought I had was, why are you in this long ass train? Because they didn't have any like luggages or anything, so they were obviously coming in far from the city, back into the city, and I'm sitting there looking at them, and I literally had the thought, I'm looking at these 2 kids, and I'm thinking, okay, you go to school in New York somewhere, and you look like a certain class, so you obviously don't go to a good school, and hopefully these kids don't get into crime, which is likely. Hopefully they don't get into crime. Maybe one of them will finish high school. Definitely not going to university because they can't afford it. Unless they win a lottery, which then they throw out all their money anyway. Hopefully the mom doesn't become an alcoholic. Hopefully these kids can marry into a good relationship. Or hopefully they don't get mentally ill. And they will probably start working fast food joints and then probably end up in like, I don't know, post office, maybe? UPS.
Jesus.
And
you saw all that just from watching it?
Well, it was a long ride.
Yeah.
So I was literally I was tired from the flight.
Mapping out her life, like.
And I'm sitting there looking at them, and I'm thinking, yeah, then the mom gets like some kind of, you know, bad food disease, you know, diabetes or some shit.
Yeah.
And they can't afford to go to the doctor. Her hair starts to fall out. The kids are depressed, working their ass off.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, holy shit, I just mapped out their life. And that is absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
That is a horrible thought to have.
Yeah.
Suddenly I have this huge empathy for them without knowing these people. I made up that story completely.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm sitting there thinking, how close am I? How approximate am I to
the truth,
their possible future?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm thinking, well, it's the States.
Yeah.
That's why you're thinking like this. You know, if I come to London, I don't know who the fuck you are. I don't know what kind of class you are. I have no way of knowing.
Yeah.
It's a different system here.
I think it kind of is, but I think you'll still see.
Yeah.
Where we are. I mean, where we are now. We're in government housing. You know, you'll see low. Not lower. I hate that term. Sorry, sort of working class people. You know? And but the thing is, as someone that's always grown up sort of in non-government housing, shall we say? This is the first time I've ever lived in a council. You know?
Yeah.
It's been a real eye-opener for me because this. I mean, it's going to sound a bit like but like the sense of there is a sense of community, you know. It's probably like in poor areas anywhere.
Yeah.
And you know, it's really nice. Like I say hello. Like I moved from Crystal Palace, which is quite well to do.
Okay.
You know, pretty white.
Okay.
And then I've come here and it's like Turkish, you know, Indian, black, white, whatever. Everyone's mixed together, right?
Yeah.
But every morning, if I go out now, I say good morning to like 7 or 8 people just walking around. Now, in Crystal Palace, I used to say good morning to some of the shop owners and stuff because it's a shop. But it wasn't the same. I wasn't saying hello to people in the stairs or, you know, there's something about that.
You're not saying hi to brighten up their day.
No, it was just.
And here, it's like,
oh hey, how you doing? You know what I mean? Because you see them around and it's a little bit of a different thing. So there's a beauty to that. I mean, you know, it's all like we're all in the shit together. Kind of
human.
Very much so. It's the most human thing you can do.
Yeah.
And just say hello to people. But we must have made a massive digression into politics, didn't we? But that's
Hey, man.
but that's what this is about. This is it.
That's where it's going.
This is where it is. But I mean,
Because I think it's important.
it's very important, and that's what I wanted this thing to be. I wanted to talk to people from the jungle community about the things they're into.
Yeah.
And like, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be about jungle, but you know, it's like, I mean, it's been, you know, all the chats have been fantastic.
Yeah.
And you know, I hope this continues, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, going back to jungle ting.
Yeah.
Why did it come to an end?
Oh, you went there, huh?
I've got it. I've got it.
See, one of my illnesses is to like explain myself in long words, long form.
That's what we're for.
Let's see. First, I'll explain it from the outside, then from the inside.
Okay.
From the outside, I would say everything has cycles. Everything has, and I don't mean that in a very like generic, like let's just get this out of the way kind of way. I'm saying like, yeah, like I think anything worth anything goes through a cycle.
Yeah.
It needs to be born, then grow.
Yeah.
You know, then mature, and then you know if it survives. A lot of times it survives out of what happened in the past.
Got ya.
So, so from that perspective, it felt like, yeah, why are we still doing this? You know, when I first created the collective, I had two things in my head. One was I want to help somehow the jungle drum and bass scene.
Yeah.
And two was to bring jungle drum and bass to Barcelona in the most purest form.
Yeah.
Like I really wanted to do it in a way where all the styles were represented. The DJ ethos was very respected.
Yeah.
I wanted to create kind of like an old school vibe in a way, but like in present day terms, or you know what I mean. Like I brought in reggae sound systems, and I say when I mean jungle. You know, it was me, Tamin, and Sekif. Now the deeper reason was because it was always a struggle, right? No one really understood what we were doing because we weren't doing the obvious drum and bass party. So it took a long time to climb up and get a following, a strong following. And then, you know, we had ups and downs as well, just because, you know, the economy drops, 2008, you know, that affected Spain a lot. We almost went bankrupt, as you may remember.
Yeah.
So, you know, having to adapt to these big things, you know, locally, they were very difficult, but we managed to keep growing. And towards the end there, I'll explain it like this. We moved from a very big club. I think you played there.
It was like, yeah, I remember it was like a stage and it was a big club, yeah.
Yeah, I think you played there.
Tracking, yeah, and all
I love that club.
It's a great club, yeah.
We had a great relationship with the club.
It looked like an old cinema maybe or something, wasn't it? Yeah, it looked like that.
I don't know.
Because it had like a circle, didn't it, at the top? I remember at the back there was like seating at the top. I don't think anyone was up there.
Oh, no. It did have that. It is that place.
Yeah,
Upload. It's called Upload.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Upload.
That's it. Yeah, I remember.
But it was just like a 2-tier club kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, I told the guys, listen, I keep going to London, and I go to a party, and I feel the sweat.
Yeah.
And it's dark.
Yeah.
It's not about the way you look.
Yeah.
It's about the way you feel.
Yeah.
And then I come back here, and it's like this big room with lights and big productions, totally unnecessary, and I'm losing the vibe. Now, looking back, I could see what was really happening, but at that moment, that's how I defined it. I was like, I'm losing the vibe. And so we were like, okay, well then let's go to a small club. That sounds good.
Yeah.
And we can, you know, tighten it up.
Pack it out, yeah.
You know, because it was a big club. It was like 500 plus.
Yeah.
And we were getting around 250, 300. which is okay.
Yeah.
But when you have that in a 500 club, it looks half empty.
It does. Yeah, doesn't it? Yeah.
You know, so I was just like, well, let's go to a small club.
Yeah.
And just pack it out. So we decided to go to Razzmatazz, which is a very popular club in Barcelona, and we dreamt of doing big things there. We were like, let's bring like good names, let's continue on what we were doing, but like just even a little bit more compressed and focused, and we started off, and like we noticed that people were not coming to our night, and it was like the numbers were dropping, and I was just not finding the strength to push and push and push, and it was a lot more expensive to do parties there than it was in Upload, and we were losing money, and suddenly I found myself going to my party and wanting to hide.
Yeah.
And not wanting to look at anybody's face, and just like when I would see somebody, it'd be like, hey man, like when are you gonna have me on, man?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Turn around this way, hey yo, remember, I want to play too.
Yeah.
You know, and it was just like I started seeing everyone the same around me, friends. This is the way my perception was. I was just like, everyone just wants a piece of me.
Yeah.
And you know, I would go home and think about it and be like, yeah, and this person complained to me again, and I would look at my DJ schedule and I had nothing.
Yeah.
And we'd be like, yeah, but you're always playing out. No, playing your own party is not playing out. Okay, so yeah, but you have, you know, we all respect you. You're like, you know, this and that, all these great things which promoters are told because they want to get booked.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So basically, one day I realized it was the end, and I talked to my partner Sekif, and I was like, look, I think it's done. I'm not feeling good about this, and we just lost too much money, and he's like, okay, well, I guess we're gonna have to look for another venue. And I said to him, no, I think I'm done. And he's like, what? How could you be done? And I was just like, I don't know, I'm not feeling this. It feels like I'm just constantly trying to find a way to promote everyone else.
Yeah.
And I'm not getting any love, you're not getting any love, and we deserve our love too, man. And he was just like, yeah, but you know, it's not really about that. We're not doing this to get something out of it. We're doing this for the music. And I said to him, yeah, but somehow I'm not there right now.
Yeah.
So we stopped, and suddenly I found myself not listening to my music.
Yeah.
And not interested in it. Almost like paranoid.
Yeah.
Like, I can't deal with this.
Yeah.
And one day I was sitting there in the computer trying to make music, and I just YouTube video, this magazine, YouTube. I'm gonna go get a coffee, anything to stay away from it. And I realized, wait, why am I pushing away from the thing that I've loved my whole life?
Yeah, exactly.
And I called a therapist immediately. I need help with this.
Yeah.
And I did therapy for a year.
Yeah.
And obviously, we all carry problems from our youth.
Yeah.
And they manifest.
Trauma,
and they, I love it. And they manifest somehow in your life sooner or later. It happened to be 3 years ago when I was finishing promoting. And the beginning of it was, everybody wants something from me. No one's taking care of me. I'm doing this for everyone, you know. And then it was more about like, your mother fucked you up and your father fucked you up. And yeah. But yeah, big lesson. By the time I was okay with music again, I realized that I deserve to take care of myself the way I've taken care of everyone else.
I couldn't agree more.
So sadly, it had to end.
Yeah.
But that was the first time that I realized, oh my God, I'm proud of what I actually accomplished.
You got a chance to look back at what you've done. It took a bit of space and perspective.
Yeah. Which towards the end, I couldn't see any of that. You know?
I mean, would you do like a jungle team reunion maybe?
I mean, Sekif is, not constantly, every now and then he's like, bro, come on, just one a year or something.
Yeah, stay on his back, Sekif. Yeah, keep on him.
Yeah, no, it's easy. If I become a famous DJ, no, seriously, that's an easy thing to tickle, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, it's not bittersweet anymore. I do miss parties every now and then, promoting parties and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think there's other people who need to kind of push on and make things happen. And,
Absolutely.
And I'm really focused on learning to produce right now. You know?
Absolutely.
And it's not easy when you're living far from London, where there's a hub here promote producers, and you're all learning from each other. But you can. I mean, you already learned. You're an old fuck. If you're 17, you're hanging out with a 16-year-old, and you're like, "How do you do that, bro? Come, show me." Oh, it's normal. I don't have that in Barcelona. So in Barcelona, I'm having to look at tutorials and listen to Kirsten Perspective and see how he cut that up and looped it and try to figure out what break he used, and I have to do that homework, and I'm in love with that.
Well, for a long time, well, thank you for saying that, first of all, but and for the old fuck comment, I appreciate that.
We are
getting on. But I was muddling along for a very long time, and I with making music, but I have to give props to Steve Survival, one half of Scar, because we wrote a lot of tunes together as LIS, Living in Shadows, and from sitting with him, he's such a genius, producer. That's where I sort of was like, oh, so there's things I have to think about. Like, do you know what I mean? It was like, because before it was sort of like, I'll just break it. You know, I mean, Each Twin Unique, when I listen back to Each Twin Unique now, it actually hurts my ears, because I can hear how the things that I just shouldn't have been doing, or at least I did, but it didn't matter, because the tune had a vibe and it had energy and it did what it did, it's fine. And that's what a lot of early jungle and a lot of early hip hop and a lot of early loads of music, was. But then that professionalism kind of thing, he helped me gain, and then I sort of pushed on from there. But there was like another point where I was like, where I was getting to play out, and I was trying to play my own tunes out, and I was like playing them next to other people's tunes. I was like, fuck, it sounds shit. And I was like, I'm not stop doing that until I can make my tunes better. And then certain tracks would come out sounding really good, and I was like, okay, so what did I do in that one? That was, and it's just all about learning little mistakes. So the big one for me last year, and actually I've got to shout out Emilio HLZ on this, was he talked to me about gain staging. So I use Ableton, and you got all the things you add.
Yeah, it's difficult to gain stage there.
And the thing is, I was never paying attention to the levels at the bottom. So it meant that on a channel, I'd have the music go through, and then everything was in the red at the bottom. Yeah. And I'm like turning the tracks down and all that stuff. I'm like, why is it still sound terrible? I don't get it. And then was it this year? It was. I think it was early this year. Yeah. After all this time, like 5-6 years, I was like, oh, look at that stuff, you know what I mean? It was just a little tiny little adjustment. It opened up the whole world, because all of a sudden now all the tunes started sounding freer and not so cluttered, and so all the music I've been working on, because I've been writing a lot of music like for the last sort of 6-7 months. It all sounds, even a tune that's not that great sounds better. And so it's all about slow progression. Well, it's not all about slow progression, but it was a slow progression for me. But it was also because I wasn't really dedicated to producing.
This is the point I'm making. Look, this is the thing I'm saying. In Barcelona right now, there's a little hub starting. There's a few producers, and they're all trying to make that growly fart bass, that frog thing, foghorn thing. And I support them, and whatever, do what you need to do. But what I'm talking about is beyond just musical production. I'm not talking about ones and twos. I'm talking about the cultural point of view. Like how to make something that's not only respectful to the origins, but also very true to who you are.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. For me, the moment I heard your music, I was like, that is Chris. There is no question that is you. That is very common in London. You hear someone's music and you're like, only you could do that. That's the level that I'm talking about. I know, for example, coming from New York, there were tons of kids that I met in my life that had moved specifically to New York to learn how to make hip hop. So it's the same thing. What I'm saying is that the Mecca is here for my music. I'm not gonna move here. I'm already an old fuck, and I have family, but I have that struggle. That of not living in the hub. You get to go out every weekend and hear new music, talk to other producers, talk to other DJs. I don't have that. You know what I'm saying? So the process is a lot slower. It's a lot.
I mean, it's something that people in different parts of the world have always sort of contended with. But what I would say is that it's also sort of like the it's almost a very positive thing for some people, because it means they're not getting influenced.
You're not influenced.
You're not influenced. So there's artists like, you know, Cray, for example, he's out of Hong Kong. And I mean, you know, his sound is so unique. Yeah. Because he obviously grew up in a bit of a bubble. So he's just doing what he's doing, and he's come over now, he's living in London, and you know, people have adapted to his sound. Yeah. And I think there's artists that have from you know, Fanu is another great example. Yeah. You know, that, you know, you can almost hear the isolation in his music. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, completely. You know, you could tell
screaming to get out.
You know, you can tell that he's from a sparse.
Oh yeah, the distortion is just like, just hear me, please.
Yes, you can hear it, and so I think that's evident. I think you know, I mean, probably, you know, there are other artists that I could probably maybe think of, but
Dev,
yeah, I mean. But you see,
who could be Dev?
No one could be Dev.
No one.
But is Dev's sound
Paradox?
Dev Paradox, yeah, always legend. But it's like, you know, he grew up in Essex. Yeah. You know, is the Essex sound a breakbeat sound? I don't know, but he was in Essex, and so was Danny Breaks, and so was you know what I mean. So I don't know what that was, but it seemed to happen that way. Yeah. So, you know, DJ Tracks as well, you've got to give props to Tracks, and Nucleus as well, all from the same necks. Yeah. You know, Source Direct, they were in, you know, Exit 9. I know. Because it's Stevenage? Not Stevenage. Shit.
I don't remember.
I can't remember where they live, but that's
I know what you're saying, yeah.
You know, even Photech is in Ipswich, you know, he's a bit isolated from it. Yeah. So I just think that sometimes that lends itself to more originality if you're not getting that influence. For sure. I mean, you know, the say, like, if you were going to Movement, you know, here, you know, for example, years ago, the likelihood is, if you decided to then start making jungle, you would have tried to make, you know, what you heard. Yeah. Sometimes that's a really positive thing. You get loads of stuff, but then sometimes you get the cookie cutter kids. You know what I mean? That are just copying what they hear.
Yeah. For years, I've had people asking me, like, when can I hear your music?
Right. Yeah.
And I keep saying, it doesn't sound like me yet.
Yeah.
You know, it sounds like me trying to be something else.
Miles Davis said the hardest thing to learn as a musician is to sound like yourself. I think it was Miles Davis said something like that. Yeah. And
probably.
I mean, I think
you would think something like that.
Yeah, and because you know, even he spent a lot of his career trying to sound better than the guys that he looked up to. Yeah. And I think that's where you often start. So there's artists that you love, or sounds that you like. Yeah. You start from that standpoint, and then over time you create your own thing. So I think the biggest surprise with a lot of people about my music, I remember I was interviewed about this on Trailer TV. Shout out to Trailer, Dan and all the guys there. But I was interviewed on that once, and the guy that interviewed me, he didn't know much about my music, but he listened to all the music on the label, and then he listened to all my stuff, and he was like, it's like, well, how comes you don't make like what you put out on your label, like, you know what I mean? And I was like, well, because I like All Stars drum and bass, but the stuff that I feel the most passionate about, I just can't do. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, Profane could do it better, El Grey could do it better, Future T could do it better, you know, Lynch Kingsley.
You brought up a name that, for me, like, when I think about
originality,
US producers, it's like, where did you come from?
Right, yeah.
How did this happen?
Who?
Profane.
Well, he's Canadian.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's Canadian. He's from.
That explains a little bit more.
Yeah. So
because they have a deeper scene there, so.
It does have a stronger scene in Canada. Like I said, I mentioned C64 and the guys.
See, Seleni is more, for me, is easier to understand.
Right. Okay.
I can hear his experimentalism.
Well, he's a punk rocker.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a heavy metaler.
Punk aesthetic.
Yeah. He's a full on metaler. He's in a band and everything.
When I heard Profane, I thought he was American.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Where the fuck did you come from? Like, how did this happen?
You know, it's funny.
Did you live in the UK for a long time?
No. He's a massive Dilla fan.
And who was the other guy I was thinking about? Nico. He released on Subtle Audio.
Oh right, yeah.
He's American. And
he's American.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. But Profane's thing was that he was, like me, he was a massive hip hop fan.
Yeah.
So
you can tell.
Yeah, I mean, so he just worshipped at the altar of Dilla. So when he started sort of putting stuff together,
that swing.
He doesn't use DAW. Yeah, he doesn't use grids. Yeah. So he just kind of just
Yeah.
feels a sample and then just runs off that.
I love his music.
And it just makes it so interesting. It's
love
funny.
his
No Nation mentioned him in
really?
yesterday's podcast. Yeah, he seems to be the artist on Inperspective that is.
I don't consider him drum funk.
No, he's like I said. That's why he called that thing he's been doing breakbeat tapestries. I'm gonna have to get my percentage of that, mate, because that was my quote. Because I couldn't describe his music. I said they're just like breakbeat tapestries.
It's him.
Yeah, it's just I don't know what
It's
the
him.
fuck he does, but he does it. And I love the story that I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, but he said he sent a bunch of stuff out to sort of like different labels, like I won't name.
I hear
names.
RZA when I hear him.
He's a massive.
RZA.
He's a huge Ghostface fan. Yeah,
That kind of
Wu-Tang fan.
saturation.
Yeah.
That sound,
It's Dilla. It's
Yeah.
It's Knife Wonder. It's loads of people.
I love that he's done that.
Yeah, exactly, and he's very unique. But one of the things I always loved the story when he told me he sent out a bunch of material to different labels, and they all loved what he did, and it was like, but isn't Chris like gonna put this out? Because they all felt I'm the one crazy enough. So I don't know whether it was an insult or a compliment, but like he heard that several times.
Let him take the chance.
Yeah, and it's like, let him waste his money. No, but he's been very instrumental in helping me actually realise where Inperspective could go musically.
He's like the MF Doom of our scene, man.
For me, he's just one of them. But in the same vein, Earl Grey.
Yeah.
Is like,
oh my God, his album to this day, I listen to it.
He'll be like Primo, like because he's got
a real round sound to his breaks.
He's got a very round sound, but his style has been very sort of uniform throughout his entire career, but it never ever gets boring. No. Like that doesn't matter what he does, he just sounds like him. Yeah, and he's someone that I admire for.
It's all about groove.
Oh. It's only about groove. Like even this most simple two-step tune. If it rolls, it rolls. I mean, that's why I love Scott so much, because what I love is that he was someone that was sort of seen as sort of metalheads and Pet Shop Bitch or whatever. And over time, he's just kind of like gone, okay, this is he's clearly getting off on something different now. Going from Here Come the Drums and Far Away, whatever, and then now he's putting out tracks like Trident by Serum and stuff like that. And it just shows an evolution in what he likes. He can still play.
I would say, just like you, I think his label has its own path.
100%.
Compared to him.
100%.
I talked to him in Sun and Bass a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And I asked him what's going on with the music production.
Mm.
He was like, I'm actually writing a lot again right now.
Oh, really? Wow.
And that was years ago.
Right, okay.
Now, I don't know him.
I've never met him.
I get the feeling that he writes every now and then, often or whatever. But I don't know, the perception that I got, and I can be completely wrong, I don't know you. Yeah. But the perception I got was that he was like his own worst enemy. Not in the sense of like, holding himself down. Or But I mean, I don't know, I guess I'm a fan, and, I'm hoping that he has a folder of great music. And I'm like, put it out. You think it's shit, but we're going to love it.
I'd love a Dr. album.
But I don't know, I feel like he could have probably done a lot more for the music as far as releases.
I would have loved to see more music from him. He's got his reasons, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
Yeah. But he's someone actually I always get I've met him once properly when I played with him at the night, and I just get completely starstruck.
I wonder how many. Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, I went really silent. And it's hard for people to imagine me going really quiet, but I was like,
I'm not really that kind of guy to get starstruck.
Nah,
but with him, I was just like,
Scott.
How can I talk to you?
Yeah. There's certain people. I don't know what it is.
It's hard, man.
Him and Dillinger.
Oh really?
Yeah, I've had a couple of opportunities to meet Dillinger, and I just never wanted to go.
When I brought him down to Barcelona, and it was super organic.
Yeah,
I think he saw the hip hop thing in me, so I think he relaxed.
Yeah,
and it was very easy for me to talk to him.
No, I'm sure he's a lovely guy to talk to.
Oh no, I'm not saying
it's my shit. Yeah, I mean, it's like
I'm sure. I mean, I talked to him about music too.
Dillinger.
And Remark and.
Now Remark's unfortunate because we're both from the same area.
Yeah,
so we're both from Brockley.
Yeah.
So his family were known in the area.
Yeah.
And so, people knew about the Foresters.
Yeah.
Like,
streetwise.
Yeah, on the streets. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna go into too much detail, but there's there's four brothers. Mm-hmm. Four. There's 4 brothers and a sister, and I think and you know, they were known in the area.
Yeah.
I mean, my older brother knew Remark's older brother,
Yeah.
you know, and all that sort of thing. And I knew Remark's younger brother, and then X-Man is younger than that brother that I knew.
Okay.
So it's like, you know, there's a lot of connection there. So, you know, Remark knew a bit about me just from knocking about. But then when obviously I started Technicality, and then I remember when he came to Technicality, and then, you know, he saw what we were doing, and then I remember it was so weird because he came to my house, like, you know, when I was living in Brockley, and it was just like I was sitting there and I was like, fucking Remark sitting just, like as close to me as you are now. It's like it's Remark there.
Yeah.
And but he was just bigging up the whole thing about what we were doing with Technicality, bringing back certain styles, bringing back certain elements.
Yeah.
And he was saying, and he was like, I can't do what you man do. I'm like, you fucking kidding me? Shut up. It's like, shut up, you're mad. You're fucking Remark. It's like, we're doing it because of you. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, you crazy. I mean, he's on my Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
So, like, well, he's on my Mount Rushmore of Amen producers.
Yeah. Well,
so
there's Brian as well.
So, Brian.
G.
Oh, yeah, of course.
No, not Brian G, sorry.
Oh.
Busy B.
Busy B, yeah.
Brian Busy B.
Yeah, so Brian Busy B, yeah.
No, Brian G, of course, yeah.
Of course.
But as far as choppage and stuff.
Absolutely.
Amen.
So my 5 are Dillinger.
As far as choppage?
As far as choppage, Amen. Yeah, so Dillinger.
Yeah.
Square Pusher.
Of course.
Equinox.
Yeah.
Busy Bee, Remark.
Yeah.
Those are my 5. Like, Amen producers. I can't think of... Because even though you could... Like, straight after that, you got the Source Directs, Photex, whatever.
Right.
But in terms of how those 5 individuals made me feel about this music, they
wrote different bass.
Sorry, say again?
Their bass writing was different.
Who? Source Direct?
Yeah, the 5 you're talking about compared
they were more
to,
dub. Yeah, because even Square Pusher, like...
No, early Square Pusher was dub.
Feed Me With Thing was dub. Yeah, because I remember me and Marlon thinking he was black. For a long time. I remember having that conversation with Marlon when we were listening to Feed Me With Things. We were like...
Yeah.
He was like, Marlon's like, he's got to be a black man. Listen to the bass line. He's got to be. There's no one no right bass line like that. I was like, well, that's not necessarily true. But, you know, it's one of the things. And then I remember I went to see him thinking he was black. And I went to see him at George IV Pub. This was so mad. I remember paying £5 to see him at George IV Pub on Brixton Hill. So I got to this great.
Yeah.
And then he's just up in this DJ box.
This is crazy.
And then fast forward like 20 something years later, Helen and I went to see, because that's what I mean, Helen was with me when I saw George IV Pub, and then we went to see him at the Barbican, which is around the corner. It's a huge arena he's in.
Okay.
Packed to the rafters. We paid like 35, 40 something pound a ticket, and we're all sitting down, and he's performing, and I burst into tears. Because I don't know why. I kind of sort of think, because I just was so emotional, because I was like,
his music is very emotional.
His music's so emotional, first of all, so I was getting a thing from that.
It's overwhelming.
It was very overwhelming. But then also, it was just that knowledge of like, I saw you when you were nothing. Like, you know what I mean? Before you were anybody. And, you know, I'm just pleased that this individual, I've never met him. Yeah. I'm just pleased that this individual has been in my life.
We used to go crazy with DJ Crystal.
Crystal was a bad man, but he wasn't really a producer. So, for me...
I mean, Ray also had his sound.
Ray Keith.
Yeah, but Ray Keith has got choppage.
No, he's not choppage, but Ray Keith has got one of his distinctive. Yeah, I mean, Ray Keith's got one of his distinctive sounds there. But I know that Nookie is a big part of that, right? Yeah. So that's the thing, and I'm not slagging off anyone.
Not at all.
You know, I'm a little bit of a purist in that sense of
the face factor.
Like, I feel like you've got to be the guy making the tune.
Yeah, no, I get you.
I get it that, I mean, because one of the things I discovered, which was not heartbreaking, but it was an interesting one, was I was always a massive Wax Doctor fan. Yeah. And then I discovered that all the Wax Doctor tunes were engineered by Alex Reese. So, so...
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So, and again, if I've got that wrong, please correct me. But
sound-wise,
that's the thing. But they sounded so different.
Yeah,
right?
no, yeah. But what I mean, the quality.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, Goldie and Pesci and certain individuals. Yeah. They're not necessarily the guys that press the buttons, but they're the guys that
the voice.
And I remember it was Rowan. Bassbin.
Yeah.
I remember having a conversation with him in Dublin, and he goes, the thing he rates about Goldie, I remember him saying, the thing he rates about Goldie is it doesn't matter who he works with, it still sounds like a fucking Goldie tune. It doesn't matter. And so there is something in that, being you don't necessarily have to be the guy pressing the buttons. You can still get a good point.
Yeah,
but I grew up around Marlon, right?
Yeah.
So So,
You don't have to say anymore.
do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's
I know.
virtually a Nazi about this shit, right?
I know.
So he I got that ideology from him, and Busy, and he's like, no, you got to be the man making the beats. You know what I mean? And so I kind of still subscribe to
I
that.
understand.
Yeah.
Both expressions.
I totally get both sides. I get that some people just don't have the need to
to
necessarily
be able
want to know.
to be a Goldie, to be able to communicate
Exactly.
what
That's
your
a
voice
whole,
is, and have someone else controlling that.
That's in
That's
some
crazy.
ways harder. In
That's
a lot of ways.
crazy.
Yeah, in a lot of ways. It's
But then
actually
to be the person who's being honest on the board,
Yeah.
that's also pretty crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's just
It's
if you
pure
can,
nakedness,
100%, and like when you get to be around individuals like not just Marlon but Fractured Neptune, ASC, Breakage. I mean I talked about him many times, but seeing him in the early days, and I was playing hundreds of tunes, and he was like 17, just hundreds.
It's
of tunes.
horrible to bring back the technicality days with Breakage, because it's like we're all asking him to go back to that, but I love what he's doing now.
I mean,
don't get me wrong.
I think
but
if I could get his agent to agree to play, and if he ever was able to come back to technicality, I think he wouldn't let me down. I don't think.
No, I don't think so either.
He'd play. He'd know what to play.
Yeah, but I'm talking production wise.
I mean, it's funny because again,
Okay.
it's just that thing. Because yesterday
Yeah.
Hamza
Alright,
was
yeah.
telling me how much he loves his new stuff.
I love his new stuff.
Yeah, exactly, and I
Yeah.
do too. And I don't think really he's.
I wish they were a little longer, because I like to roll.
Yeah, they're really short. Yeah,
I like to roll my beats.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing 3-minute tunes now, man.
Yeah, well, you can just loop it in. That's why. That's the thing. If you want
Boring.
to more time.
Boring.
I agree, but it's the way out of it if you want to build yourself some more time. I mean, I saw Lone. I'm a big fan of Lone.
Lone.
Yeah, he was an artist, like a techno house guy. He was on RNS for a long
okay.
time, and then he's not anymore.
LONE.
Yeah, LONE.
Oh yeah.
I saw him DJ at Boiler Room.
Okay.
And I realised what he was doing, he was just like looping maybe one little bit of like the last bit of a tune, and then just mixing on top of that.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He wasn't the most technically proficient DJ, to be honest.
Yeah.
I went to see him 3 times, and every time he was kind of poor in terms of a DJ, but it's still Lone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't care,
Yeah,
so
there's something like that.
yeah, I think that, and going back to our point earlier on about how people are and whatever, I just loved him, so it didn't matter. And actually, I loved him as an artist so much. When I got a chance, I was walking through Hackney Wick. I was going to Sandy Sentence's house, and I remember seeing him standing outside. I knew it was him because I think he was playing in London the night before. Maybe he was hanging out, whatever. But he was standing outside a bar by himself. Like, there's a courtyard, there's very few people around. It was him. I was like, it's fucking Lone, so I know it's him, right? So I was wrestling whether I should go over there and speak to him. And I thought, you know what? If I go over there and he's a cunt to me, I'm never going to be able to listen to his music again.
Yeah.
So I just thought, nah.
That happened to me with Dom Rollin.
Oh, okay.
You brought up Breakbeat Science. Breakbeat
Okay.
Science days. The only reason I'm speaking about this is because I actually finally was able to talk to him about it.
Right, okay.
So I am open to talk about it.
Okay.
But he came to play Breakbeat Science.
Yeah.
Special in-store only.
Yeah.
And I walked in there. It was just a few of us. We were lucky enough to see him play. This is, I have to say, it's probably 98, 99.
Yeah.
So he at the height of Dom Rollin, right?
Yeah.
And and I said hi to him, and he just gave me the nastiest look, and I was just like, "Wow, fallen idol! I can't deal with you now. That's it, And then I would still end up buying his music over the years because I still heard that thing that I loved.
Yeah.
But I was just like, I don't ever want to see his face, that was horrible.
Yeah.
And then I went to Sun and Bass, and I was hanging out with Dev and Unit.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jim. And I see him walking down the street with sandals and his towel and stuff.
Yeah.
And I turned it over to Jim. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
And he's like, what's wrong?
Mm.
And I was like, nah, man, I have nightmares with Dom Rollin, man. And he's like, why? I was like, because this happened.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh man, don't think like that. He's a nice guy, man.
Yeah. It's nice to you.
And I was just like, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I had a really bad experience with him, man.
Mm.
And he's like, oh man, you should talk to him. And I didn't talk to him. And then years later, as a promoter, I thought, he would be perfect. I should really bring him down. I'll have Sekif take care of him. So I don't have to deal with him and stuff. But he really, I think these people need to hear this sound. I don't remember what he had put out at that time, but it was like kind of like going back to his older sound and stuff. So it was like a good time to bring him down. And I remember we brought him down, and I had to pick him up at the airport. And after a while, I saw that he was nice. So I ended up telling him the story.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, I was probably an asshole to you, man. I'm so sorry." I was just like, "Oh my God, thank God you came back to me."
Yeah, exactly.
But you never know, man.
Yeah, I met him at La Scala. The first time I got to speak to him, La Scala, and I just went up to him and went, "Can't punish me, mate. Can't punish me." He was like, "You're all right." And
That was
like,
huge, though, man.
Yeah, can't punish me. Can't punish me. Help me get over being dumped.
Really?
There's a girl. Fuck it.
That's a good track, man.
There's a girl called Kerry Curtis. Sorry, Kerry. Because I think we're still a girl called Kerry Curtis. She broke my fucking heart. And I remember being in a flat in Brockley with a good friend of mine, Brian Bennett, who I'm still friends with now, DJ Delta. And I played that tune non-stop for an entire day, because the idea of like, I was thinking, you can't punch me, and I was like, oh yeah, fucking bitch.
That's amazing, man.
But like that tune fixed me, man. I played it all day, and next day I was like, yeah, fuck it, alright, move on. And but that was my therapy. And it's like I said to someone last night, music has always been my therapy.
Yeah.
I mean, I have been to therapy.
Yeah.
I think that's important too.
Yeah.
Especially for men, if I don't mind saying, because I just think we don't do it enough, and
we're not really taught to express.
We're not taught to express ourselves in that way, and you know, it's something that I think needs to talk about. And actually, it's something maybe where I'll probably see if I can get, you know. Oh, Daryl Invaders. He's a qualified therapist.
Oh,
now.
I don't know.
Yeah, but he's a.
I met him before. He's nice. Nice guy.
He's one of the top people, mate. I love Daryl. But he's a qualified therapist now.
Oh,
so actually, yeah, I might have to get him on. Well, I would wanted to get him on anyway, but like, you know. But anyway, so you know, music's always been my therapy, and you know, even after Helen passed, you know, there was music of hers that I would listen to, and you know, it just connects you. It allows you to be, you know, human again. I think sometimes, and you know, I feel when I meet someone that doesn't like music, because you do meet people that don't really.
They don't get it.
They don't really not into music at all. Like, you know, it's very weird when I meet people that are not into music. I feel sorry for them. Like, is it Noel Gallagher?
Yeah.
You know, Oasis. I remember him saying, when you meet someone that says they're into everything, that's bullshit. Like, be into one. he's so militant, but I respected him. I knew exactly what he's talking about.
No, but I know what he's meaning.
I know what he means. You know, he's saying, what sort of music you like? You want someone to say, oh, I love heavy metal, or I love this, or I love it. It doesn't matter what the music is.
Okay.
Just tell me something.
Yeah.
Don't say, oh, I like a bit of everything.
Because it says a lot about you.
Just fuck off.
As a person.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, have your thing. It's fine. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be the same thing as me. I have it. You know what I mean? I love it when I meet someone that's bang into a particular sound, even if it's not something I'm really into. I mean, you know, and that's what, because I relate to the passion related to how they feel about it. So
you feel that you're still as passionate?
You know what? It's funny. You talking about the promoting there, I was getting triggered a little bit, because I know exactly what you meant about hiding away from people when you're doing your nights and stuff like that. When I was at Ribbon Factory and we were doing the events there, I really started to dislike promoting. I loved the energy of the excitement of doing a night, seeing people turn up, seeing people enjoying themselves, everything else. But I just always would rather be in a cutting house, getting the next release out. You know, finding music was always the paramount thing. Finding amazing artists was always a paramount thing. The music was always paramount to me. And events, even though they're, you know, you need to have them, it didn't matter if, you know, I could happily not do events and just do me, you know what I mean? But it's funny, I talked to Mantra about it once, you know, and she, you know, obviously her and Double O have made done such an amazing job with Rupture. I mean, you know, it's just fantastic to see, you know, so many people go and enjoying that style of drum and bass in 2022. I mean, it was gonna be a packed night tonight probably, and tomorrow, and you know, all the music, none of the music that's going to be played is going to be necessarily traditional. or top 10 stuff or whatever, whatever. It's all going to be underground. It's all going to be left field. It's all going to be amazing. And but I remember talking to her Hospitality at the Beach. Was it? Might have been. And I can't remember. But we talked about it, and she said that she much preferred doing the night than running the Rupture label. And and I mean, I'm sure that's probably changed now because the Rupture label is doing very well. But like at the time, and I understood that. That's where she really enjoyed, that's where her mindset was. She enjoyed that. So, and I said, oh yeah, no, I'm the opposite. You know what I mean? I just much prefer putting out music. And I think that's what I got back down to. That's when, so then we started putting out with Future T and, all that sort of stuff. And I really pushed.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited about next year because there's so much I've got planned. I've essentially taken a year off. To be completely honest, I mean, the last year and a bit, I had a bit of a narcotic problem. So it kind of took me out of reality for quite a substantial amount of time. And I let things go a bit fallow. And, there's a lot of shit I need to unpick and sort out before I can get releasing again. But I'm determined to do it. And I've got, people around me that are going to be helping me do that. So I'm very, very happy at the moment and content to get that done. And you will see, we've got Polska, Profane,
Jesus.
Who else we got?
You don't have to say anymore.
I'm going to do the Technicality compilation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're going to do the Technicality compilation, and there's a few other projects that we've got lined up, which I'm really excited. We might be doing our first NFT. So there's a few things that I've got in the back burner, and I've been very quiet. Also, obviously, my relationship with RNS. There's things that I've got planned in line for RNS. So that's all going to be very exciting as well. So there's a lot happening. And then my work here with Dave, Subject 13, with Vibes Recordings, bringing that back.
Really?
Yeah, we're bringing Vibes back.
Wow.
So, but it won't be drum and bass entirely. So I'm very excited about that because it's like we're signing acts. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's really cool. We've got an incredible rapper, an amazing producer from France, and a couple of singers, two different singers from the UK. And so far, so that's all exciting as well. So there's a lot of projects that I've got to get me head around.
This is why I come here.
Yeah, man, this is the thing. Yeah. I know what you mean.
Vibes,
it's our
energy.
It's our I mean, London is the mecca for drum and bass.
It is, man.
And to be honest, it's a mecca for dance music. Like, I mean, I can't. No disrespect to anywhere else. I mean, obviously Berlin has got the techno thing, and there's certain places. Yeah. But you still get proper techno in London.
Yeah.
But like my friend Diana, who's out in Berlin. She was moaning to me when I was there earlier this year. So much techno. It's techno all the time. And she loves techno, but she just wants to be able to hear drum and bass again. It wasn't. And then now I see flights going out there and starting to pick up again in Germany now. There's some drum and bass being sort of perpetuated there, and that's really exciting because Germany is a great country. And because they're so connected to technology as well, it's like
that actually reminds me of I mean, I don't know how long we're going now, but
no, that's right.
I don't care.
No, that's right.
Post Brexit, how's that affected?
Wow, yeah.
Because I actually haven't talked to anybody about that.
I mean, a good person to talk to would probably be Ben Kai, because he runs Dawson Chili's. And he's been, I hope he doesn't mind me saying, but he's been having a nightmare getting fucking chili. Like, because the import taxes are so high and...
Super high.
It's kind of crazy at the moment. So I don't know how we get round that, but I think it's when things go into Europe. Because what it is, I think that his suppliers send stuff to Belgium or somewhere, and then there's someone that sends it to the UK. So, but I think if stuff's coming straight to UK, I don't think that I'm probably speaking out of turn. I don't know. But I things are still being imported into the country, so someone's doing it. So I don't know. I need to do a little bit more investigation. So I probably shouldn't speak on it anymore because I don't really know enough. But I don't know how much Brexit really affects us. Like I don't feel any different. Like I haven't seen any major changes.
Oh no, I was talking about the music.
Musically,
I mean, as far as like, press, tours.
Well, I mean, you can still tour. I mean, like, because at the end of the day, you can still go to Europe, innit? It's like, you just, it's just not as easy. And I don't know whether you necessarily need to have an entertainment visa or anything to perform in the rest of Europe. Now, I've never actually tried. And to be honest, a lot of the nights I
remember when they were first, like, when the first few months with Brexit, there was talks about, artists that won over 10,000 a year would have a visa to be able to go into Europe and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? I'll be honest with you.
That sounds like a lot to me.
Yeah, but I haven't really done enough investigation. But I still see artists going to Europe freely and playing. So, I can't imagine that it's that troublesome for DJing.
Yeah.
But in terms of like, buying vinyl and
Sales.
stuff like that, sales and that is problematic. And it might be that, there's going to have to be maybe more collaboration within industries in order to get things achieved. So maybe there's
pressing in Europe.
Yeah, so maybe you say get a bunch of labels together and then have a hub where all your stock can be held in Europe. You know what I mean? And so some of it can go there, some of it comes to England, and you can distribute from there.
Separate identity number. And
and then maybe you can do it that way. I don't know. I mean, I think through challenge comes ingenuity, isn't it? So it's
back to car seats, back to the cars or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I love the idea of like maybe just driving a bunch of records over to some part of Europe.
We laugh at it, but you think about rock acts and all them. They make their money selling live
at the end of the night.
Events,
I mean that might be another way. I mean, it might be that you go play out somewhere and you bring a box of records with you and sell it afterwards. Every comedian's my CD's available at the back.
Totally.
It might be, well, look, you're a DJ, you play, look, my latest single is available at that table there, go and buy it.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got Clashmouth coming up, we expect to see it.
Yeah, I wish that was this weekend.
Man. Oh, no, it'd be a great weekend to do it, but I think people would be too fucked, really, to turn up tomorrow. Right, do you know what I mean? Because we're starting at 1 o'clock on the 26th, so, I mean, it's going to be bad enough with people going out on a Friday night anyway. But like with Rupture on this, it'll be suicide to put it on that same weekend as Rupture. So as much support as we get, it still wouldn't be. And also, I don't want to be fucking.
I don't know how I feel about the fact that Rupture split it into 2 nights. I honestly don't, because
it's because they got so many people that want to play it.
Oh no, of course, I understand. I understand why.
Well, they're successful enough that they can.
But I'm saying, I used to go and be dead for days.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna be dead for longer.
No, you just have to get some drugs down here. It's fine.
I don't take drugs.
No, well, you can start. Yeah. But anyway, no, I'm joking. I'm joking.
It's probably time.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Hey, come on, let's go. No, but it's like you're gonna see.
Egres high as fuck.
It's fuck later. Yeah, we're gonna get our video in. Yeah. But no, it'll be. I've like I said, obviously I tried to do technicality to the best of my ability, but they were able to take on a lot of the sort of like work that maybe some people might say I've sort of got started and sort of moved on from that and absolutely.
There's no way to deny the fans are the same.
I think in the early days of Rupture that was very true. I think now they've got their very own.
Oh no. I'm not judging that at all. No. What I'm saying is, I followed that path. It was very easy for me.
Yeah. I mean, it's always nice because people, when I go, people always, you're pretty technically, but I'm like, why do I need to? You've got this. Why? You know what I mean? I don't need to do it. But it's been 25 years. The Inperspective. So that's one of the other plans for next year is to do just at least maybe do one big party.
Yeah.
Or maybe I like the idea of doing sort of like going to a venue and saying like doing a residency. Like maybe take 6 weeks at a venue and every week
that's
do
really
something.
nice.
Because then you could do like smaller,
focused,
longer sets and just and more session type things. Yeah. So that's sort of what I'll be thinking. Because at the end of the day, I wouldn't.
Metalheads does that, right?
Well, a few, I mean.
No, I guess not. They also do a lot of little clubs and stuff.
They do. Yeah, I mean, they do quite big events. But I mean, I like those. There's a club called XOYO, and they do the sort of like residencies.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, it's like Andy C and people like that. But there's a version of that I would like to maybe try.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, because I think. People can then pick the night they want to go for, or you do a special deal where you can get it to all nights for a certain amount of money.
And as a promoter, the whole budget, the whole preparing, it's a lot easier.
It's a lot easier because you can spread it out.
You know what you're doing.
Yeah, and so hopefully that'll be the thing. So there's a place nearby here actually, which is a very sort of small kind of like it's a floating room as well. So it means that basically when the club nights are going on, no one outside could hear a fucking thing, and so hopefully we'll get in there and maybe do something next year for technicality because I like the idea of doing a series of events, whether it's sort of 4 months or within 1 month.
Really nice.
I don't know, or take over a weekend and then do like But no, just before COVID, I did have a party planned at a place called a brewery in Wood Green, but then we got COVIDed out, and that was it. So you know, sort of moving on from that, we will come back, and you know. But I want it to be something different, and the label.
When you say we, do you have people helping you?
Well, yeah, I mean it's always sort of like the raw we, isn't it? But
I know
like,
that.
That's
why I'm asking you.
Yeah, no, I do have people, a couple of people around me, and you know, I'm fortunate in that regard.
That's good.
And I'm thankful to them all, and you know, it's going to be a lot of work next year. It's going to be a lot of work.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. No. But I'm coming to the States though. Well, I say I'm coming. I'm going to the States. Sorry. Sorry.
You're taking me with you.
Sorry. I'm going to the States. 9th of. I'm going to Orlando.
Wow.
Because Esteban, who I've been slagging off during this podcast. He's got me out, and I'll be going to Florida and Miami and Orlando and maybe North Carolina for a protege. Wow. He said he might get me a gig there. So I've got to finalise those details, and I'll be off for 3 weeks. So I'm going on the 9th of January, and my birthday's on the 10th. So for the first time in my entire life, I'll be in bright, hot sunshine.
Yeah. Crazy Florida.
On my birthday.
With alligators. And
yeah, the alligators and margaritas and the Wagyu beef. And you know, we got a whole... Esteban's picked out all these different restaurants we're going to go and there's a barbecue and shit. I can't wait.
Nice.
I can't wait.
That's sick, man.
So I hit all the vegans and be like, oh,
good for you, man. Good for you, man.
Well, look, man. Anything else? Anything for the future? Pop the tunes? I'm
producing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When are we going to see? When do you think you'll be ready to release some music?
I'm finishing tracks now.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for feedback. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah. Let's just say that right now I'm if I release stuff, it's going to be under my DJ Egres name, not my real production name.
Yeah.
Just because to get my foot out there.
Yeah, I think because that's what I would recognise. Yeah. Well, where's your production name though, just in case?
I haven't told you.
Oh, you haven't told me. Oh, okay. That's a secret. You don't want to make
it's not Burial.
You're not Burial.
No, not Burial. But yeah, I might start a podcast. I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
It's difficult in Barcelona because it's like I could do one that's like English version, Spanish version, that kind of thing. But I
think you should do it in Spanish.
No,
I think because
the thing is, it's other things. It's like
okay.
How curious am I?
Yeah.
It's kind of like doubting myself. Am I just doing this for me, or am I doing this because of the love of the conversation?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
Besides that, family man, helping the local scene, and hope to get out more to parties and DJ, and probably bring back my podcasts. I was doing that pretty regularly, and I stopped because of other reasons. But yeah, man, just growing. You know, learning. I gotta start taking drugs, man.
Yeah, man.
And wear my heels.
Mushrooms
are the one.
Yeah.
I know. Joe Rogan, man, he's bad.
Yeah.
I actually took a hit of what is this called? Edible.
Oh yeah.
Just an edible.
Yeah.
I haven't done drugs my whole life.
Yeah. You got an edible?
Well, I took a whole piece. I brought them home, and I told my wife, like, look, babe, I got some edibles. I think I'm gonna try one.
Yeah.
And she used to when she was younger.
Yeah.
She stopped a long time ago, and she was like, okay, it's up to you, you know. And I was like, yeah, you know, fucking Joe Rogan, you know. And I was like, I'm 45, man. I gotta try, you know. And I tried on the worst possible day.
Yeah.
It was like a Saturday night, and I was just like, well, what's the worst that can happen? And I had the worst trip.
Oh, shit, man. Yeah.
But so I was like, I'm never doing that again.
But see, even the bad trips are good, but like...
No, that was not good.
No. But
I
get it. Yeah. But it's so new, that's the thing. And so, and the thing is, you metabolize, when you eat it, it metabolizes differently. So it's way stronger.
Yeah.
So it's probably not...
No. I'm very aware that I did it the worst possible way. It's definitely my responsibility. But, yeah, I don't know, man. I was like originally like a break dancer.
Yeah.
Junglist, like, you know, I was always...
You
I
are
was
one of
always not straight edge. I wouldn't call myself that, but I guess that's what you would describe me.
You have the people have the X and
The X's. Yeah.
Because it's like
stupid.
I was saying to someone the other day that one of the things I used to hate playing in America. There'd always be some cunt who would come into the middle and push everyone away and then start breakdancing.
Yeah.
And I remember I was in Chicago. Shout out DJ Stunner.
Yes, Jay.
Jay, loved that man.
Yeah, me too.
I think it was because he came to the front and he started. No, it's in Pittsburgh.
Oh,
Sorry,
I've never been to this one.
It was in Pittsburgh. I played. I can't remember his name. Damn. But there was a guy who got me over to play in this little tiny bar, like Polish bar in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And that city's like a ghost town. It's
never been there.
Crazy. It's just at the time when I went, it was like a ghost town. But anyway, and I remember he came to this guy, really tall, like lanky guy. He came to, and there wasn't that many people. I mean, it was like maybe 30 people there. It wasn't like a big event or anything. But it was like 30 people there, kind of enjoying what was happening. And he sort of come into the front and then pushed everyone away. And then started doing. I was like, hey, no. I just told him, no, don't, no, not here, no. It's like there's a place for that, not here, not in jungle. It's for everyone to come together and dance. I had to explain that to him, and he thought I was really mad at him, and he came and apologised.
No,
no, it's just that my face looks really angry.
It's a cultural thing, man.
Don't do it. The other thing that I remember when I was in LA with Will Flower. He helps Marlon with Sign Wax and stuff like that, and all that sort of thing. He's a lovely guy. And I remember, like, everyone was sitting down. And I started playing, and I thought, everyone would start getting up. I was like, no. They were just going to sit down.
That's happened to me before.
So they were like, well, no, we just come to see you, man. I was like, and so I stopped the music. I was like, what the fuck's going on? Why is none of you standing up? What's going on? And I was like, hey, man, we're just here to see you play. Because Will explained to me, they come to see the DJ in that sort of hip-hoppy kind of turntablish fashion. I was like, no. Get up, move tight, come on.
Yeah.
This is not how we do it over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I appreciate I'm in Rome, but we're not going to do it how the Romans do it. Let's just get all your stuff up, let's move out of the way and get up and dance.
Yeah, last time that happened to me, I just thought, hey, whatever, I'm just going to do my thing. Yeah. And then when I finished, they all clapped. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, they really appreciated it, but it's like, well,
they were listening.
They were listening. Of course they were. They were sitting down to listen to you. But no, man, get up, move your body.
You got to sweat, man.
Yeah, man. That's what it's about. Well, look, bruv, on that note.
My hands are free. It's so nice to see you again,
Thank you very much, man. I
really
appreciate
support the show, everything he does.
I love you, man.
Important man.
All right, man. Peace.
Later.